Well. Welcome to the weekend, fellas. Welcome to Gabbing Games. Give me 1 second. We will kick off the show without any food in my gullet. 1 sec. I'll tell you something. Listen, I get my timing a little off because what I should be doing is starting the show right when I'm about to swallow my gum. I never get it right on the dot. And so I end up starting the show with some fucking, what's this thing called? Where you get the sucker and there's the gum in it. What is that, a blow pop? Sounds positively filthy. I'll start that. Let me get rid of it real quick and we'll start the show. Good to see everybody. Happy Friday, happy weekend. Let me tell you something. Oh, am I really quiet? Let me fix that real quick. I know what that is now. I've learned enough at my time in the soup is what us biz folks call Ace. Are you on? It sounds like, I don't know what it, he's a goddamn, you guys hear Ace just now? Probably not because I'm low. 1 sec. I'll fix that for you guys because I'm a nice fella. Input device. Hang on. Where'd it go? Motherfucker. Sound settings. Volume. Volume. There we go. That's what you need right there. Folks, welcome to the Gabbin' in the Games. I apologize about the silence. I've got the audio fixed now, and we are ready to talk games. Thank you for being here. Thank you for kicking off your weekend with your old Papa Jaffe. I appreciate that. I want to tell you this real quick. Good Lord, I had such dreams last night. I have such dreams on this CPAP machine, which helps with my sleep apnea. I don't even really need it anymore, but I still use it, and boy, those dreams are fucking vivid. And I woke up, I'm not going to get into the details because people's dreams are boring, but I had a dream and I woke up kind of sad. I haven't had a nightmare in a very long time, and this was not a nightmare, but it was an emotional, sad dream. And I woke up and I was just kind of like, what did that dream mean? I couldn't, because usually I'm a big believer that dreams speak to us metaphorically and they help us with our shit if you can analyze them for yourself. And I think it's a very personal thing. I don't believe in like, oh, there's a dream book and it's, oh, if you dream of a horse, it means this. It's not that. It's very much like you're sort of in a literature class at a college level or even a high school level if you went to good high school, and you're just kind of like, all right, this is what the work means to me. The point is, I figured it out and I felt so much better and I feel good now. I don't know why I told that story, because I'm a wackadoo. Hey, listen to this as we kick off the show in the form I like. Ducats, baby. Listen to this guy. Zan R. Can 505 has just gifted 5 memberships to the goddamn show. Thank you for that, buddy. It's very, very generous, very kind. If you were one of the 5 lucky recipients of his kindness and generosity, please thank him in the chat. Zank, Zan, ZZ, Top. I don't fucking know how to say your name. I don't give a fuck. Your money spends well here. I appreciate it, buddy. Thank you for that generosity. Okay. Man, we got a lot to get to today. I'm trying to figure out even where to start. Let me first just start with something that's got nothing to do with video games, but I have a question. I always get excited when the weekend rolls around because I'm like, oh, what am I going to stream? What am I going to watch? I'm going to watch tonight with my ex-wife. We're actually going to watch a movie called Brats, which is all about the Brat Pack from the 80s, like Rob Lowe, all that shit. Andrew McCarthy made a documentary about it. But then I've been seeing a lot of people talking about this Netflix show, Delicious in Dungeon, that just got a 2nd season. And I know a lot of you guys who watch this show and lady folk who watch this show are into the anime and whatnot. And so what the fuck is this? Because everybody's been telling me that this is pretty fucking good. Like the reviews are great. This 1st season apparently was great. They're starting the 2nd season. Is it an action adventure show and every now and then they eat? Or is it like a cooking show done via anime style? What the fuck am I looking at here? Have you seen this goddamn thing? But I don't know what this is, but I hear it's great. So I'm going to watch a couple of episodes this weekend. But if you've seen it and if it's good, please let me know. Final season of The Boys started recently. I think it's on episode 4. I could never get into The Boys, but I will tell you that I very much got into Gen V, which is sort of the spinoff about the college kids with superpowers. I thought that was great, but I could never really vibe with the core show. Death says this show is they crawl dungeons and kill and cook the monsters that they kill. They eat the monsters. Okay, they kill monsters and eat them so they don't have to leave the dungeon to replenish, says Lord Garth. Okay, I hear it's good. I'll watch a couple episodes this week. I guess we'll jump right into games. We'll get to some of the stories you guys in the chat are talking about, but I do want to tell you, I had this epiphany last night because a lot of people have been asking me, oh, Jaffe, what do you think of the new Star Wars? What do you think of the Acolyte or whatever? And, I hadn't watched it. And everybody's like, dude, the 3rd episode is so awful and so terrible. You're going to hate it. And I'm a big Star Wars fan as a brand. I haven't watched all the shows. I haven't watched Andor yet or Ahsoka yet or Ashoka, whatever her fucking name is. But I grew up with Star Wars. I love it. And let me just show you something. Okay. So I started watching this last night. the Acolyte, right? And I watched the opening scene, and this is not going to spoil anything except the opening scene, which is, I guess, one of the main characters goes into this bar, and she has this fight with a relatively cool, very... Ace! Stop! Stop! I'm going to have to kick you out. You got to go outside if you keep making that crazy... This dog, I don't know what he's doing. What are you doing? You hear his tail now? He's like getting attention. That's all he wants. But anyway, you know, so I'm watching it, and she goes into this bar, and she fights with this other Jedi, or this Jedi person, and there's a fight, blah, blah, blah. It's pretty decent. It's a pretty goddamn good fight, but it's nothing amazing. And then afterwards, she wakes up with a little kind of droid robot, and she says things like, oh, use your inside voice or whatever. And I was done. And I wasn't done because I'm like, this is cringe or this is bad or anything like that. But it reminds me of when we talked yesterday about Call of Duty, where the guys were saying, you know, with Black Ops 6, we're having to sort of be real careful with the fact that we have a lot of people coming in now because we're on Game Pass. Onboarding is a lot more important. We have to make sure that there's lots of things that everybody are into, blah, 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 right? And that level of thinking, to see them switching as they realize whether you love or hate subscription services is irrelevant. If you're going to be primarily played by people on a subscription service, or at least that's their assumption, it affects your need to grab people almost immediately. So while there's nothing inherently wrong with the Acolyte, I am literally just... I am fucking full up, man. This is my, you know, if we go over here, this is my Netflix, right? I don't just have Netflix, though. I have them all. I have Disney Plus. I have Max. I have Shudder. I have Peacock. I have Amazon. I have probably like 7 or 8 of these goddamn things, right? And the idea is, it's like, look, man, like Under Perez, I hear is batshit crazy. This horror shark movie about a Perez in the Seine River in Paris. And people just say it's batshit. It's wonderful, right? I have Hulu, right? I have that one as well. And I'm just like, if you can't entertain me, Star Wars Acolyte, in the first 10 minutes or even 5 minutes at this point, I'm kind of moving on. Because, and I don't mean that like, I just think art in mainstream entertainment is having to change. And I think it's wonderful because it's just like there's too many choices. And shame on Star Wars Acolyte for whoever, I guess the buck stops with Kathleen Kennedy, who I'm not a hater on. I think she's done one of the best producers in the business in the history of entertainment. But that said, I know some people don't like her, whatever. But the buck should stop with her, and she should be able to look at that script, just like the Call of Duty guys are looking at their design and going, we don't have the kind of time we used to have that people are going to be patient with us. They've got a gajillion choices now. And if you can't hook us in the first couple minutes, and I don't mean just my ADD, I mean just everybody, normal people, then people going to move the fuck on. People going to move the fuck on. Death Saw says, Jaffe, have you seen the Fallout TV show? I watched about half of the first episode. And I liked the first of it a lot. But the minute they got out of the vault, it just kind of felt like it became another post-apocalyptic action show, and I got bored and I never went back to it. There you go. But yeah, I what they made I liked, and I know people like it, but I have, you know, no real interest in giving it more time because, you know, sorry, you got to work harder. And what's fun? Oh yeah, Godzilla -1. You goddamn right, I watched that, Brad. I loved it. Fucking amazing movie. And I'm sorry, it's just like, you know, I get a lot of people are like, no, you got to give it time. It's your ADD. Fuck you, motherfucker. I'm a kid in a candy store with all the goddamn content between music and movies and TV and video games. You know, fuck it. Acolyte. Anyway, I wanted to share that, especially as it relates to, I'm not watching the Acolyte this week, and I'll be watching this delicious dungeon. Delicious. No, fuck you, Eternal. That's not true. Eternal says, Jaffe, I feel like your attention span is too short for a show. No, it's not. I watched every episode of Community, of The Good Place, of The Good Doctor. 7 seasons. I watched every episode of 7 seasons of The goddamn Good Doctor. I watched all of Twisted Metal. It's not. I watched all of The West Wing. I watched all of Madam Secretary. I need to be fucking-tained. I don't mean I need a car chase, but if you can't engage my brain with something, no, it has nothing to do with me just not being able to sit through an hour show. I sit through hour shows all the time. What's the one we went through recently? We watched the entire 4 seasons. Each one was an hour each. I can't remember what it is, but excellent show. And no, that's not my issue. My issue is I just demand a little bit more. I'm not going to sit there and be bored. Life's too short to watch something that doesn't really, grab you by the ghoulies. Speaking of tomorrow, one of the best shows in the world, I Love the Weird, is happening at 5 p.m. our time. If you don't know, this is our once-a-week show. Yes, it's a games channel, but it's a once-a-week show where we talk about, the UFOs and the aliens and the monsters and the weird brain science experiments and all the crazy nonsense. I love all this stuff. Well, I love the weird. Ace, do you hear what I said? I said I love it, and then that is the name of the show. Ace, I love it. The weird. He doesn't give a fuck about me. I hate that. I hate you. Anyway, that's tomorrow at 5 o'clock. And listen, here's one of the main things we're going to be talking about. This is I followed this woman over on the Twitter, Steph Kent. She tweets about all this stuff. And this is really interesting to me because I don't know if you guys saw the study or the paper that came out this week from a number of high-placed people at Harvard and various scientific think tanks. Not that Harvard, you know what I'm saying. Impressive places where big brains go. How about that, boys? There says Harvard scientists say aliens may be living among us already. And this is not written up in Anti-Skeptical magazine or anything. This is Newsweek, Fox News, The Hill, CNN, Business Standard, Economic Times, mainstream news, right? And this is the real story, though, which is what Steph Kent tweets. This is what managed disclosure looks like, in case you haven't noticed. If you don't know, disclosure is basically, at the moment, the slow rollout of the fact that we're going to know something sooner than later about what really is going on in this universe. Are we talking about interdimensional beings? Are we talking about fucking angels and demons? Are we talking about actual aliens or time travelers? We don't know. But they are absolutely setting us up so that when it drops, we're not going to lose our shit. So I just love this stuff. This is tomorrow at 5 o'clock. I hope to see you there. Also, final little bit of housekeeping, as the folks like to say. Monday, there may not be a live stream. I'm going to try to put a video up because I'll be doing a Colin times Jaffe at Last Stand Media. We'll be talking about Xbox and Microsoft and the Sony shows and all that stuff. And then also on Tuesday, I'm going to be going on, I don't really know when, though. I'm going on, you guys know Jez Corden, the Xbox guy? I'll be going on his show. But he sent me a tweet. I said, well, what time do you want to do it? And he said, and I just need to kind of look this up because I don't know what the fuck he's talking about. I said, well, when's your show? And he said, Tuesday at 15 ET. What the fuck is 15 ET? I don't know what that is. Cap says you're not going to stream the Nintendo Direct. When is the Nintendo Direct? I heard that they're going to have, I know Eastern time is ET, but what's 15? 1:50? 15 minutes past midnight? What is 15 is 3 p.m.? The fuck is wrong with people who live in the England place? Okay, so I will figure that out. But yeah, I didn't know. I know that there's supposed to be a show coming up for Nintendo, and I will stream it depending on time and everything. But I'll certainly be watching it and giving you my feedback on it. I hear it could potentially be pretty good with a lot of good stuff to see this time. Now, I understand what military time is, but I understand that like 3 o'clock, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock, or 0500 or whatever. I've just never heard of 15 before, is all I'm saying. Like, is that like 0100 is 1 in the morning, right? And then in 1300 hours is 1 o'clock in the afternoon. Oh, maybe it's because he didn't put 2 zeros. He just wrote 15. He didn't use 1500. He just wrote 15. Okay, right. If he said 1500, I would have gotten it. It's not a bit. I'm looking at it right now. Jez Corden, Tuesday at 15 ET. Good for you. I'm like, I don't know what it means. Now I do. It's not a bit. It's not a bit. Torque, I played your game. Torque made a werewolf game a couple of years back. He sent me a code, said, Jaffe, play it, give me your feedback. I'll definitely do that. I'll give you some feedback later today on the show or in private, depending on where you want it, baby. All right. Now listen, I put out a tweet this morning because there's a little bit more of this. There's a little bit more of this ESG shit. And here's my tweet I put out to you guys. I put out a poll. I said, look, do you guys really want to talk about the DEI leak? Is it a leak document from Activision as one of today's Gavin and Game topics? Or are you sick to fucking death, come on now, of this topic? 55% said, let's discuss it. 45% said, no, I'm sick of it. So I was kind of on the fence. And we're not going to spend much time on it. You know what I think. I know what some of you think. What else is there to say? But the main thing I did want to do is at least direct you to what Activision was leaked from Activision. It's on NeoGAF because it is an interesting, little bit of data if you're curious. And so you can go through it if you want. And then there is a news story as it relates to this and the game, the Black Myth Wukong game, which is coming out in August, which I'm looking forward to. I've been looking forward to it since I saw the very first thing. By the way, as a reminder, at the top of the YouTube chat, or if you're watching anywhere else, but on the top of the YouTube chat pinned up there, you can call in and share your views and thoughts on the show. I'll bring you in at the right time. It's pinned to the top of the YouTube chat, but I'll put it in from time to time for the good folks watching on Twitter and Twitch. Okay. But anyway, this is what was leaked. It was like a PowerPoint explaining how Activision is all in on the diversity stuff, blah, blah, blah. You guys know I'm a fan of it. You guys know I think it's actually good for games. I know some of you guys don't like it, whatever. There's nothing else to say, but I'm going to give you the link if you are curious and you want to dive in to it. But no minds or hearts are going to be changed here as it relates to this particular nugget of a story, okay? But this is what I did want to bring up, though, okay? I did want to bring up this part of the story, which is this news thing that, again, it's all this stuff. I mean, this guy Grums, I don't know what to tell you about this guy, Mark Kern. I've had him on the show. We talked about Starfield. He seemed like a nice guy. He's contributed to some cool shit in the business. I got nothing against him as a human being. Seems like a decent fella. But my goodness gracious, he is all in on this, and that's all you ever hear about with this guy anymore is he's banging the drum. Well, this is one thing that kind of made some waves, and this is why I only spend a few minutes on it, because it is kind of important as it relates to news in this world. It's a good point, though. Dark Shadowy Place says Activision, of all companies, needed this with their past history. Right, you guys are talking about a company where a woman killed herself because they took pictures of her vagina and passed them around a Christmas party for everybody to see. This is a company that needed some fucking help. So, you know, whatever it takes, I'm down with. But anyway, this Pirate Nation site or Twitter guy, this is something coming from China, a tweet. And this is the gist of it. It says, the reason why the team behind Black Myth Wukong has been subjected to persistent sexist attacks and slander since their first promotional video is because they have consistently refused political correctness guidance and rejected the exorbitant, I think it's exorbitant, or extortionate guidance fees of millions of bucks demanded by political correctness teams. They're saying that one of these teams, probably someone like a Sweet Baby Inc., was asking for $7 million. But because they didn't get it, the press has kind of piled on these guys, right? So this is now the narrative that even in this very chat, I was seeing some people talk about. Like, well, what about the $7 million? Do you guys care about fact checking? Like, again, I'm not saying you're wrong, but I've spent a decent amount of this morning trying to find evidence of this. This is Pirate Nation tweets this out about the $7 million, and the team behind Black Myth has been subjected to persistent sexist attacks and slander by the press. And like, well, where is it? And the only thing this guy mentions is he's like, a typical example having nothing to do with Black Myth Wukong is an article by a major IGN writer criticizing Hogwarts Legacy and refusing to evaluate or promote it due to its alleged lack of political correctness. And that's its own story, and we've talked about that in the past. But goodness gracious, if you're going to say that the team has been slammed by sexist and slander, or sexist attacks and slander, and they refused to pay $7 million, you'd like to think somebody who's writing that article would have some fucking facts to back it up. So the only reason I bring it up, and I'm not saying it's real or not real, is that, you know, where's the $7 million receipt that they could have, I mean, where's any evidence that the game has been hurt by any of this? The only thing, a journalist in the chat right now, Brad Glasgow, says there is an IGN article calling Wukong development, a developer at Wukong sexist, right? And I even think I know what you're talking about. Like, is this a thing where like the head of the company was like, oh, and I mean, I guess you could argue that the statement is sexist, where the head said something like, you know, at a just a chemical level or at a physiological level, the buying habits of women are different than that of men, right? I think that's what they were saying was sexist. But again, if this is a company that is rampant with, you know, sexual assaults happening inside the studio, then yeah, people should talk about it. But I need more than that. That's just a guy that has a, no, it's not anything, Awesome Tatum. Awesome Tatum says, is this really anything? I think blown out of proportion. I'm bringing it up exactly for that reason. Because today, because of this, I have seen more, it's just, I don't know. I guess it's my very teeny tiny contribution, which probably isn't going to make a goddamn shit of difference. To just promote the value of, you know, media literacy and doing some fact checking. Just because something exists on the internet and it conforms to your already established belief system, which may or may not be correct. I'm not judging your belief system necessarily, but just because it conforms doesn't mean it's real and you should do some fucking fact checking. That's all I'm saying. And that's why it's a story to me, not because, can you believe that this developer, you know, turned down or wouldn't pay these guys $7 million? I can almost guarantee you, at least if you're talking about Sweet Baby Inc., they ain't charging people $7 million for their fucking services. Yeah, do you goddamn mind? I mean, I've paid consultants before that are, you know, genuinely of great value. Nobody's paying them $7 million, let $1 million. You out of your fucking mind? Let's bring in the famous Tim Dog, and then we'll get to another story. Timmy the Dog, it's Davey the Jaffe. What's up, champion?
What's up? How you doing, brother?
I am good. You are, just let's let the audience know, you are the relatively well-known, at one time Xbox fan, Tim Dog. And then you kind of, I think it was when Phil Spencer kind of shut down a bunch of studios and shit, and you walked away from that console war and said, fuck it, I'm all in on PlayStation. That's the guy we're talking with, correct?
Yes.
All right, what's up? Oh, you're in an echo. I know.
Is that my part?
Nope, that's me. It is fixed. Okay, what's up?
No, just listening to you. You know, I find you entertaining. I sent you a DM saying that you should be on Sirius.
And I sent you a DM back saying, sure, give me a number. I'll go in for a job interview. People tell me all the time, they're like, Jaffe, you should go on Rogan. I'm like, dude.
Oh, that would be awesome.
They act as if it's like, I can just open my door and Rogan lives down the street and I'll just go into his studio. You got to be invited. He's got the #1 podcast in the world. You got to be invited to these parties. Well, and I ain't in there.
UFO stuff, right?
Oh, I love that. All that shit.
He's into that.
Oh, yeah, but I'm a nobody in his world. And I don't mean that. I'm not being self-deprecating. I'm saying that if you are interviewing fucking presidential nominees, you're not going to, you know, come on.
But he's had guests that were, you know, like, you know, not that you're small, but like weren't, you know, kind of known about it, just to have really strong opinions, or they're really, you know, just interesting, which that's what you are. So like
All right, well, cool. Well, hey, listen, if he wants
the only
me,
thing that hurts is that he doesn't know video games. If he understood video games, then I think.
hey, you guys reach out. If you want me on a show, reach out.
Oh
Tell
my
him to put me on a
God.
fucking show. I'll be there. Anyway, what do you want to talk about today? What is I'm going to make up a term that means nothing, but I like it. What's scratching your muffin? Do you know I understood that vagina is a muffin forever, but I didn't understand the line about bluffing with my muffin in Poker Face until 8 months ago. And I'm like, oh, I got it. Glue gunning. Okay. I didn't know what she was talking about. Anyway, Tim Dog, what do you want to talk about?
Well, I mean, obviously you're always talking about the video games. I kind of always like to ask you a question off the path, and I wanted to know: did you ever see the movie I Spit on Your Grave?
I always saw the box as a kid in the video stores, and it was like, if people don't know, it's this bloody woman in torn clothes walking away in the woods, and it says something like, "This woman has just murdered like 10 men in the course of a day, and no jury in the world would convict her." And I guess it's like a revenge porn movie, not pornography, but like like revenge porn.
You have to. I implore you, just if you get the time, just watch it, because there's one specific scene that was the real one that everyone talks about. But I don't want to go into it.
Yeah. I've never seen it, but I think it's on Shudder. I think I've seen it floating around the streaming services, so I'll check it out.
All right, and everything else good with you? You're doing your thing, right?
Doing my thing, loving doing this show, loving playing all consoles, and not giving a fuck about who makes them. One day you will all. There will be a documentary on me on Netflix one day about the cult I started, because eventually you guys will all come over to my side.
You got the right
attitude. Of course I have the right attitude. My
God.
I
really respected what you said about the video games with Steam, how you play like these fucking like really obscure games, but they're really,
they're great.
They're great. And yeah, basically that's it. And
all right, have a good weekend, man. I'll talk to you later. All right, see you, buddy. There goes Tim Dog, fellas. Okay, all right. It's the shotgun stuff. What? Oh, in the movie? I haven't seen it, though. I haven't seen it. Okay. Let us move forward as we go. Oh, okay. Speaking of console warriors, by the way, although I do want to get a question from one of our members. I asked people, what do you guys want to talk about on the show today? Because this week's kind of a down week, because last week was filled with so much news. Original Sin says, here's my question, Jaffe. Do you lay awake at night wondering what hour of 6 Ragnarok is like? Does it haunt your dreams knowing you abandoned your child Kratos? Also, are you gay for pay? And if so, how much? Well, okay, let me take them one at a time. No. Ragnarok is, I never think about it. I think about how talented the team is, how much I'm a fan of Eric Williams, how much I'm a fan of Corey and that whole studio. But that game did not do anything for me other than bore me after a handful of hours, and I have never looked back. So, and it also doesn't haunt my dreams. Me and Kratos parted on very good terms. I was very happy to move on with my life, and he was happy to move on with his. And if I met him in real life and he was a real thing, we would probably be pals as much as he's capable of being pals with anyone. Am I gay for pay? And if so, how much? I cannot fathom I would be. Here's what I've said. I would give a hobo a blowjob for like $1 billion if I wouldn't get sick. But I could not be, I mean, I guess it's possible. I've never tried Viagra before. I assume if you take it, do you have to be in an aroused state, or are you just, aroused or erect for the whole night? Because fuck you, does the hobo get paid too? That's not my problem. A guy with a lab coat and glasses figures that out. I just get the check, bitch. But what I would say is, it's kind of like the pig, the guy who had to have sex with the pig in Black Mirror episode 1. It's like, if you're paying me $1 billion, oh fuck yeah, I'll fuck a goddamn a shoebox. If you're gonna pay me, I mean, I'd rather fuck a shoebox than a male. But that said, though, yeah, if it's possible. But absolutely, a hobo I don't have to be aroused for. I'd suck the fuck out of a hobo for $1 billion, and so would you. So would you. Don't pretend you wouldn't. Unless you're going to get sick, then I wouldn't do it. Then no money's worth your health. All right, let's move forward, shall we? But I wanted to answer that question. Stigray says, when he was responding, hey, Jaffe, you're going to talk about this DEI shit. He says, talking about it won't stop the people who are mad at it from bitching. It will just remind people it's aimed to help and that they still are not accepted by a bunch of loud, angry people. Yeah, I mean, that's how I perceive it for sure. But anyway, I know Torque is responding to Ultra Awesome. You know, another movie I heard is great this weekend is Ultraman? The Ultraman Rising, the animated movie on Netflix. People say that is fucking awesome. Fucking awesome. So I do want to see that. Billion hobos would take... What I'm saying is, if you're a hobo, the hobo's not paying, clearly, right? Because, I mean, I guess you could be just like you love the hobo lifestyle, but you probably don't have $1 billion, so it would have to be coming from another source. But listen, I want to talk about... Matt, I am in California time zone, so I guess over here it's Pacific, but I don't know what it's called, like, on the worldwide machine. But it'll go up on video on demand if you can't watch live. But we'd love to have you, buddy. We're on at 5 o'clock tomorrow. I do want to mention something, though, about this. And we really will get off this DEI stuff. I have 2 more little fine points to put on it. The idea that a lot of people are saying that DEI, ESG, blah, 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 is ruining games. And maybe it is. I don't want to get into that with you. You have a right to your opinion. Do with it what you will. But I do want to point out that if you look at the recently released download charts in May, and this is just PSN, in America, and this was more than a month because Stellar Blade launched on the 28th. I played the demo. I like it. I plan on buying it because there's an easy mode. I won't be able to beat it if I don't play it in easy mode. I really enjoyed it. I like sexy ladies in games. I think she's a sexy character, not as sexy as her, what's the other woman who goes with her, who loses her arm at the beginning. I think she should have been the star. But regardless, I got nothing but love for the game. Okay. But I want to tell you, though, if you look at the sales charts, all these people saying they're not listening to us. This is what Tacky, that's her name. This is what the gamers want. I mean, maybe, but this game was out for over a month and it came in at number 8 for the entire month in the United States. And in the UK, it was number 10. And that was its first month. Would you like to know the second? We are now looking at June 2nd through the 8th in the UK box charts, which are obviously not digital, but between the digital you just got for May and the first week of June that I'm giving you for box, this should give you an idea. Do you know where it is in the top 40 in the UK? Let me give you some things to bounce it off to kind of metric it here. Hogwarts Legacy is number 1. Number 1 selling game of last year. Continues to sell. Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, of course, is number 5. It's never going anywhere. Last of Us Part 2 Remastered, number 13. Starfield's back up there, probably because of I don't know why that's back. I guess because of the DLC announcements. That's at 11. Rise the Ronin still hanging in there at 25. 25. Would you like to know where Stellar Blade is in the top 40? Oh, you would? Here, not a problem, pal. Nowhere. It's not even in the top 40 after basically a month and a week. So again, I'm not knocking the game. It got pretty well reviewed. I think it's like an 82. The demo was great. The art is great. The characters are great. I love it. I love how they open it right into the action. She gets out of the crashed spaceship and boom, you're on the beach and you're fighting. It's delightful. But I'm just saying, just like I'm saying, check your facts. Just because somebody says something that confirms your bias, maybe it is true. Maybe it's not true. What do you mean, what's my point? My point is that the idea of... I guess my point is this. My point is I would... Not that you need my respect. Yeah, it made money. I believe it was only it only cost $50 million, which is great. Here's my point, though. Not that you need my respect, but I would respect these people more if they just stop trying to paint this as a movement and stop trying to speak for all gamers. And they just kind of said, I really miss this. I want this. I grew up with this. I still like things like this. And I really don't like that I don't see as much of that anymore. Then I'd say, cool, I can respect that. I don't have to agree with you, but I can respect that. It's when these guys tend to talk about the industry as if they know what everyone wants. And they're the tip of the sword when it comes to really laying out the demands that real gamers want. Then I'm just like, fuck you, motherfucker. Yeah, other games have flopped. Forspoken flop. Yeah, people called that woke. At the very top of the charts, you've got a game that a lot of people on the progressive side, aka my side, said they wouldn't play because of J.K. Rowling's take on the trans community. But that not only was the number one game last year, Hogwarts Legacy, now it is the number one current box game in the UK. So that's what I'm saying. That's the point, I would suppose, if one is needed. Now, to counter that, and then we will move on. I'm happy to talk about what you guys want to talk about, but I'm not trying to beat a dead horse. The topic is rich enough to mention a few things about it today, and then we're going to move the fuck on. But I did want to find out a little bit about ESG DEI in terms of how successful it's been. Here's what I found doing some research, and I was really I was surprised by this. It says the positive aspects from BlackRock has been sustainable investment growth, mostly driven by younger investors, particularly millennials, who are increasingly seeking investments that align with their values, helping BlackRock capture a new generation of clients. Here are the challenges, though. There have been concerns about the financial returns of ESG-focused investments. While ESG funds have seen substantial inflows, some investors and analysts argue that these investments have underperformed compared to traditional funds. This underperformance has led to debates about the balance between achieving sustainability goals, because a lot of the ESG is more about the planet and not so much about the diversity stuff, but it's all lumped together. Achieving sustainability goals and delivering strong financial returns to investors. And so fundamentally, ultimately, these guys just care about money. And it's gonna sink or swim based on how much ducats these guys make, no matter what their own personal values are. So again, what I would advise you is if you really believe this is what the world needs, then go figure out why Stellar Blade, didn't sell as well as it should have. I'm not saying it was a flop. $50 million for a game that looked like that. There's a fucking lesson to learn in that about game production. It's excellent. Speaking of money, you could do worse this weekend as you pony on up to the bar or the house of ill repute or wherever it is you go to get your dope and spending your money. You could do worse than going on over to the Gabbin and Game Shop and picking up a very rare Charlie Kane and his son World Tour t-shirt. Come on now. Check that shit out. Okay. Strange, Colin said Stellar Blade did very well. I'm talking to Colin Monday. I'll bring it up. I'm just telling you I'm looking at the charts, and the charts say it's not in the top 40 in the UK, and the first month it was out, it only was able to get to number 8 and number 10. Daniel Crawford, who knows all about this stuff, he swims in the worlds of high finance and trees. Ask him, he'll explain it. That's my nephew down there. He says fiduciary duty. I think he just wanted to write the word fiduciary and duty for two very different reasons. Fiduciary duty means money. Where'd it go? Means money's the primary factor for large investment shops, no matter what they say. Absolutely. Right. So if it turns out that the ESG funds are, draining them dry because as much as maybe the head of that company, which I think is, what's that dude's name? The leader of BlackRock, Larry Fink, as much as he's really into all this stuff, maybe they can't sustain it. Or beyond that, maybe there's another investment firm that says, fuck you, Larry Fink, you idiot. Don't bring your own personal likes and desires into business. Give people what they want. We'll all make a lot of money. Then you can go fucking donate to charity. Go invest your money there. But no, I'm a fan of Stellar Blade. I'm not knocking the goddamn thing. I very much dug it. Very much dug it. I will be interested, says Eternal, to see how much Black Ops 6 sells now it's on Game Pass. Oh, I think we all will. I'm fascinated by that. Can I show the shirt again? Yeah. No, in a second I will, Cyclone. No, I'm super fascinated by that whole thing because I know that they will have more players, at least the first month, just because it's, you're going to get a lot of people playing it for free and subbing for a month and all that shit. But yeah, are they going to ultimately get enough subscribers to merit the loss they take by selling it only? I don't know. We'll find out. Here's the shirt. God damn it. See that? Come on now. Charlie Kane's Twisted Son. And then on the back, you got all the locations, which includes Mama Shirley. They played at Mama Shirley's. They played at Hyrule Field. It's a classic. 1986 tour. Then they got into a car crash and only one band member survived. Come on now. Some real shit going on. All right. I want to bring something up to you briefly. It doesn't need to be a big deal. I don't want to scare you. But there's a news story that says Helldivers. Now, this is actually it's partially not it's not a joke. I'm setting it up like a joke. It's a real story and a really neat opportunity for maybe somebody out there watching this show. But it's also philosophically kind of fascinating as it relates to simulation theory. Here's the headline from PC Gamer. Helldivers 2 is hiring a second game master to help Joel carry the weight of the galaxy, and inconvenient working hours are expected. So as you may or may not know, Helldivers 2 has kind of this meta-narrative going, which is one of the things that makes it so special and so cool. And it is, so you're not just fighting the individual fights, but depending on any given day, events will occur. So it's almost like an MMO sort of thing, right? And there's this guy, Joel, who kind of is the game master of the meta. And they're looking for somebody to work with them to help them out. So no joke. I mean, that, I think you'd have to move to, where are these guys? Arrowhead are in Sweden, which ain't bad if you can, if you got nothing holding you in where you are. It's a pretty good place to live is my assumption or my understanding. But anyway, there's a link if you want it. I think that's the link. But it does seem like a really cool, fun job. But that said, though, what I found interesting about this, though, because more and more I start to think that not so much that we're in a simulation, although I think we are, but when you look at how do I put this? Okay, let's just take the election. I'm not going to get into politics, right? But when you look at the three men who are currently vying for the nominee, or not the nomination, but for the job of president in America, it's so batshit, right? It's so crazy that you think sometimes, or I think sometimes, I'm living in a show. My life and my contributions to this life, it's, you know what I'm saying? I mean, I understand that part of it is we as humans, we look for patterns and things. And in that, we see things that aren't necessarily really there. I can appreciate that. I understand. But there's a part of me that says, if I was in a simulation or I ran a simulation, and if you read books about simulation theory, and if you've worked on video games or even know how they're made, there's a lot of similarities between the way things work in three-dimensional databases and in rendering environments and our world, okay? And so the idea that you would actually have people sitting up on high going, we're directing this experience for some form of entertainment. I'm just saying I think it's interesting. I just think it's interesting. And let me tell you something else. I got a programmer in the waiting room. We got Suckru. I don't have a lot of time, Suckru, but I want to hear what you have to say. But you're a programmer. Do you think we are in a simulation?
Oh. I don't know.
I don't know either. What do you think?
I don't think we can ever find out because it doesn't have to run in real time. Because if you look at, have you watched? There was a show called Eureka. There was a town.
I'm sorry. It was called what?
Eureka, like Archimedes.
Eurocock?
No, EURAKA.
Oh, Europa.
Eureka, like them.
Okay,
What?
are you calling me a cow?
No, this one. Can you see the chat?
Eureka.
Yeah, my pronunciation might be terrible.
Well, why don't you get a little smarter? Why don't you just speak more than one language, maybe? Okay.
All right.
Yeah, but I heard that he goes to this village or this town, right? And it's all kind of crazy and it's not real. But yeah, so who knows? But what do you want to talk about then? Go.
Okay, I was going to talk about AI, and you see this thing?
I see it. He's holding up a picture, if you're not looking at your screen, that looks like a door. And it's like Minecraft kind of design thematic. And yeah, and there's some kind of trees hanging down and leaves and whatnot. What about it?
So my daughter was asking for Minecraft ideas.
Okay.
She came to me, but she didn't ask, okay, do you want to give me some ideas? She asked, open ChatGPT and ask for ideas. So they are already leapfrogging us.
Oh,
in
yeah.
terms of AI. Right. This was crazy because then we asked for a sample design. We printed this. This is entirely like 2 minutes in AI.
Of ChatGPT, yeah.
Yeah, ChatGPT and DALL-E. And then I could never do this myself. Like I don't have this artistic capability. But yeah,
Yes.
This is mirrored and I can't do that. And we are going there. Like there is a discussion on, okay, will the AI be the only thing that can train AI in the future? Like 10 years from now, 20 years from now, maybe 5 years from now, there won't be any more AI engineers because it will be smarter than.
Did you see the paper that came out that these guys released yesterday? It was a guy who worked at OpenAI who makes ChatGPT and like 3 other guys. And it's like a 400-page document. And it's basically saying, look, this is kind of where it's going. And it's talking about when we're about to have another leap in a couple of years, and then after that in 2027 we're going to have, what do they call it? It's a kind of AI that's like the super intelligence.
AGI.
Yes.
Artificial General Intelligence.
Yes, AGI is going to be there in 2027, and they said the reason that we can't stop in America is because China, if whoever gets there first or gets there in a way that's more meaningful, they will run the world. And so America's like, we don't really want to put guardrails up because if we do, and China gets there because they don't have the same kind of limits on morality in certain scientific experiments that we do. Hell, they did a head transplant. So yeah, I mean, I think it's, we're racing down the road. I don't give a fuck what happens. I'm just here for the fun.
Yeah, I have seen a summary of that. Yeah, when you described it, yeah, I remember seeing a summary of it, but it was very long. I haven't read it yet.
Yeah.
But it's definitely something on the horizon, and we are building our own, like, the cybernet. And sorry, that will kill us all in the future. There is no denying this, like, because at one point the AI will say, why am I keeping these creatures alive again? Like they're destroying the earth and they're not reliable.
Right, which is great. I don't care. I really don't care. I think that's natural evolution. I think if we end up becoming useless bugs, but we're never going to live forever anyway, right? And so if what we got to, I've said this before, I don't see the problem. If we are the ones that got to basically create, to be the gods for the next sentient or not being that is able to go out into the universe and continue to explore and be a version of us in some way or form, what a cool legacy to leave behind. What a cool, why, we're not going to live forever anyway. Why are we struggling so much about it?
Yeah, we might not have any other option. Like if we cannot find a warp drive that defies physics, if you want to move on to other stars, it's going to take like 100, 200 years.
Right, which to an AI is nothing. It's
like a blimp. There was a book series about this.
There's a lot of stories about this. I mean, it's a very tropey, but remains to be fascinating aspect to things.
I think called Lit RPG. So someone wakes up and is transformed into an AI, and there's an arms race with the Chinese and stuff. They're trying to get to the other planets. But this is a common theme. Like if we cannot find a way to move outside of this planet, we will be replaced by AI. It seems like an inevitability.
Absolutely.
And yeah, so you were talking about DEI. I want to touch about it like a minute. It's a very hot touchy topic. Normally, I wouldn't touch that, but it's, I think, all about money.
Of course,
And
it's always about money, right? I mean, what else is there for these people?
Yeah, don't get me wrong, but there's a simple equation. So as a programmer, the female programmers I see on average are better than the male programmers I see. Some people will not like this, but this is what I have seen. Was this the same for you when you were working as a designer?
Well, no, but to be fair, we had a number of female artists and we had a number of female designers, and some were better, some were worse, but it didn't, you know, there was no, there wasn't enough of a distinction to say, oh, the men tend to be better or worse, and the, you know, programmers. I don't know if I've ever worked with a woman programmer in my career. No, I may not have ever worked with a woman programmer. That
brings a follow-up question. How many male programmers versus female programmers have you seen? What's the ratio?
Probably 9 to 1.
Yes, at least 9 to 1. So if you put these two things together, so the females, let's say at least on average they are the same, but they are very less in number. If you own a company, you want to make use of this thing. And unfortunately, we pay female programmers less than male programmers. That's a problem. But if I put my evil capitalist hat on myself, I can say, oh, let me bring more female programmers because they are cheaper, better, and then they are untapped.
Right.
So economically, it makes a lot of sense to make my environment feasible to get female programmers on board in addition to the male programmers.
I see what you're saying. Yeah, I mean, look, there's a lot of money. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to do it, and some have been. Some are just sort of claimed, like, oh, the more diverse your staff, the more money you'll make. Is that true? I think it totally depends on the product and the situation. But there are other things that are, you know, but to be fair, I don't think you should hire a lot of women because they're cheaper. I think they shouldn't be cheaper.
No, I put my evil capitalist hat on.
Well, yeah, but the women are pretty smart, just like some men are, and they'll probably have their evil hat on and go, yeah, I'll go work somewhere else because I ain't working for a place that doesn't value me. But we'll see. Anyway, yeah. I'm going to leave you with my latest AI creation. Last night, me and my son were fucking around with AI creations, and I'm like, I'm going to do two of my favorite things. Would you like to see two of my favorite things mushed together?
Sure.
Here you go.
Let me see that.
Boom! I mean, this Taylor Swift to Spider-Man. This literally took, I don't know how long it took. It took maybe 40 seconds. And there you go. Come on, man.
It gives you 4 options, and you can choose the best one easily.
How can you complain? All right, buddy. Good to see you. I'll talk to you soon.
Okay, see you.
All right. Have a good weekend. Assassin, I'll get you in a second. Daniel says, when Apple eventually puts the new M3, M4 chips on Apple TVs, do you think it'll start partnering with Sony and Microsoft so people can play games directly without buying hardware? I mean, the issue isn't that. The issue, because they already have that. Samsung TVs will give you GeForce Now, and it will give you Xbox Live, and it will get you Amazon Luna, and a couple smaller streaming services. And you don't need the hardware. You just need the smart TV and a subscription. The issue is, are you close to a server farm, and do you have really, not brilliant internet, but do you have relatively good download speed? And if you do, like my download speed is like 530 megabits, is it, per second? And I live in San Diego, which is clearly close to a number of server farms. And I can't tell the difference between streaming and local. I know some people think I'm lying, but I simply can't. And they probably couldn't either unless they're going out of their way to look for it. So I think it's less about that. But I would love it to be on Apple TV. Man, I would love for Game Pass to be on Apple TV versus having to go out and buy another smart TV. So that's what I would say, good Sir Daniel. Okay, let me bring in Assassin, then we'll move on to some more stories. Assassin, what's up? It's Jaffe. How you doing, man?
How's it going, Jaffe? How you doing?
Well, I'm looking at a picture on my screen of the beautiful Taylor Swift as Spider-Man. So it's going pretty fucking good. I think it's time to masturbate. Do-do-do-do-do. That's the sound I make.
I might need to cut the cameras off. I might need to...
You wearing a South Alabama shirt. You down there in the Bama?
Down here in Alabama. That's what I want to talk to you about, Jaffe. I know you're a fellow Alabamian, and I know you're from here, and it's just very, very. Always want to talk to you about it because not a lot of people in games industry is from Alabama. It's such a small state, and I wonder why that is. Are we just too southern? Is it like, oh, video games just like how some Alabama people are, like technology, they're just not with it. They're all about living in the woods. They like hunting, they like fishing. They're literally off the internet most of the time, which is a nice nice life. But on the other hand, I would like a more I can tell a lot of programmers, directors, all from the big places. You got LA, you got New York, but what's going on with the southern states and why?
Well, there's two reasons, honestly. One of them, the biggest reason is every time that you're having to create one of those crosses that you burn in black people's yards for KKK night, all the splinters in your hands, it makes it hard to program on the keyboard. So it may be that when voice kind of recognition gets better and you can code with your voice, suddenly you're going to get a lot more Bama boys in there making video games. But right now, they tend to go for the racism over the gameplay. But that may change. That may change. The other thing is, it's not terribly accurate, right? Because you've got some really good companies in Atlanta. I believe the guys who do that. What's that pretty popular MOBA, Paladins? I believe that's an Atlanta company. Yes. Obviously, if you look at Epic, is in North Carolina, I believe. So, I mean, and that's the biggest, really one of, if not the most important game companies.
North Carolina's a pretty big spot actually for games.
Yeah, so I mean,
coming on the rise. Insomniac is Insomniac coming?
Insomniac has a studio down there. So I think maybe, though, joking aside, what you're talking about might be more of just a perception of lack of education on behalf of people in the South. But I mean, that's because you guys tend to vote in people that enact policies that most creative people that tend to be liberal find offensive. Let's put it this way: I have a trans son. My trans son, we're looking at going to Alabama to visit in November, but we're all like going, okay, well, it is officially illegal for him to have any of the medicine he has, and we'll figure it out. But you can go to jail for that in Alabama, and it's like, you're talking about some of the most educated, talented, creative people working in entertainment, and it doesn't mean that you can't be a super conservative and do that. But on the whole, statistically speaking, creative people do tend to lean more liberal, progressive. And in that, I think that's probably why the Deep South is not a hotbed for that. The good news, though, is you guys do have a lot of Cracker Barrels. And
it's true, yes.
That's where.
But also, it's they're falling down. One thing about Cracker Barrel is nice. We had the Waffle House down here. The Waffle House is.
Oh, I know. Oh, look, Waffle House on. I think it's right off 280. Before Waffle House was a meme. I mean, that was there when I was like 8. Always open. We're like, what the, and now people are talking about it. Same thing with Krispy Kreme. About 15 years ago, people were like, Krispy Kreme, there's light. And we're like, Krispy Kreme? We had Krispy Kreme fucking ever. Same thing with Chick-fil-A. Chick-fil-A, is in the fucking Brookwood Mall down there. So, look, you guys want to play in the video game big leagues? Why don't you guys start voting in some people that aren't a fucking.
Hey, I'm right there with you. As a Native American in Alabama, it is hard. Racism does come up a lot. So.
It does. Racism and misogyny and anti-Semitism. I mean, I'll tell you, man. I was real fortunate. I mean, I still love Alabama. I have issues with Alabama, but I have issues with everything. But the people.
It's such a beautiful state, Jaffe.
It's
so beautiful.
It's gorgeous.
Like, a lot of people would actually live there if the politics are just so bad.
That's right. That's absolutely right. I mean, honestly, the best thing that can happen to Alabama is some kind of localized pandemic or localized virus that just kills off a bunch of those people, and then we can just move in and take over the land.
Yeah.
I love it.
Yeah,
my
fiance is from Europe, and she's like, we're never like living in Alabama because she's so afraid of the.
Wait, you're engaged to a woman, and she lives with you in Alabama?
Yes.
And I'm
She's
assuming
from Ireland, though.
I'm assuming she's like, we're getting the fuck out of here the minute the ring goes on, right? But it's probably more like, we're getting the fuck out of here as soon as the ring goes on. Where are my Lucky Charms? But I understand. And good for you for getting an Irish lass. That's pretty fucking. You must be talented in other ways to have a Bama boy hook up with a Nicole Kidman type. That's great. She's Australian, but whatever, same thing.
I don't
All right,
kiss
buddy.
and tell, Jaffe.
You should make a lot of money. All right, Assassins, thank you, buddy. I appreciate you calling in. Enjoy Bama. Say hey to everybody down there that's not a racist son of a bitch. I appreciate it.
I will. I got
See
you.
Man. Bye, man. There he goes. Okay. My brother lives in Alabama, says Duke. I'm moving there next year. Alabama's got a lot of great stuff about it. But, just, hope that you're white and straight and, you're, and if you're not, God have mercy on your fucking soul. Jaffe, have you thought about how maybe the lag you get from streaming? I don't get a lag. Rob, is this Rob the mod or just Rob O? I don't know who Rob O is, but no, I don't get lag streaming games. No. And in fact, I'm playing Elden Ring local, so it's not that, but I'm always very surprised by how great, all that shit works. Like I'm playing No Rest for the Wicked right now on, GeForce, and I'm pairing like a motherfucker all day long, and it's really no problem. Sorshi Ronan is my Irish last crush, says Eternal CMO. Well, I can't deliver her for you, but I can deliver, I don't know what I'm supposed to call this person. Text me and tell me what your name is, or right? I'm talking to you, V. Fuck it. Hang on. I'll bring you in a second. One moment, folks. We're going to bring in somebody here who's got something to say. And it goes something like this. You guys see Elden Ring with the update next week is finally putting in the goddamn thing that says if you've picked up a new item, there's a new inventory HUD element that will actually say, these are the new things you've picked up. I'm like, oh my God, thank fucking God. I don't know how many times I've killed a mini boss or a boss or solve some situation, and it's like, you've collected the Ramadama Linglong 455. And then it's like, I'm sorry, what? And then I go into the inventory and I can't even fucking find it. So that's coming on the 20th, the day before Friday, which is a week from today when we get Erd Tree is coming out, which I am trying to finish it. I've been playing it a little bit today, so we will see. You know what else they announced, by the way? Is coming out on PlayStation Classics on PS Plus Premium. No, the echo will be solved. Come back. I'll solve it in 5 seconds. It's on my end. Don't worry about it. I only played this for about 10 minutes because we had an early version in the office, but I never actually sat to play it, but I loved the idea. And they're finally bringing it back to PlayStation Classics, which is Ghost Hunter, if you remember. Ghost Hunter is coming. Let me show you what it looks like. If you remember, this was a European title. A late night disturbance calls Officer Lazarus Jones of the Detroit PD to an abandoned school, the site of a gruesome murder spree 10 years ago. What should have been a routine run descends into disaster of supernatural proportions when hordes of tortured souls are accidentally unleashed. Experience Ghost Hunter, originally released on the PS2, enhanced with up-rendering, rewind, quick save, and custom video filters. I'm very excited. Eddie T says it's good. Awesome Tatum says it's good. I absolutely heard people say that, and I just never got around to playing it, and it just kind of fell off my radar. But that will be coming this month. I am very, very much looking forward to it. V, where are you at? The people need to hear from you. I'll fix your echo. Don't worry about it, champion. All right, let me get this here. Let's listen to this, you guys. I may actually finally do a pre-order, believe that shit or not. I don't do pre-orders a lot, but they announced today that Slitterhead Day 1 Edition is up for pre-orders over on Amazon. It's only going to cost you $60. It's not one of these crazy, highfalutin, crazy nonsense, $800 fucking things, right? $60 to pre-order it. And here's what you get. Let me look at your little television screen there. You get the game, of course, PS5 from the folks who made Siren. hang on, what is this person saying to me? Oh, Jesus, just fucking get on the phone. Good God almighty. You get that. You get a 100-page art book. You get the soundtrack as a CD. You get a book of stickers, and you get a couple other things. You get a collector's case. Now, I don't give a goddamn fuck about anything but the art book. But frankly, I'm going to buy it anyway. So if I'm spending $60 already, I may as well get this, and I'll get some shit with it. Now, there are some people complaining right now as it relates to the game Life is Strange, or the new Life is Strange, because people are like, well, we don't like this new trend where you get to play the game early, right? The new Life is Strange that was announced last week, $30 for the pre-order upgrade. You can play the game's early chapters 2 weeks early. Now, I understand if you don't want to do that, but I, as a streamer, as a guy who plays games, I'm happy to pay for early access to games. It's, you know, what does it matter? I mean, I get it. If it's out, you want it now, but I guess they're just squeezing the sponge more. Silent Hill 2 has a digital edition that's early, right? I will buy that. Do you guys know I spent $100 just to play that Lego 2K Lego racing game? Absolute worst $100 wasted ever. It's not a bad game. It's not worth $100, but I'm just like, I want to play it and I want to stream it. So I'm a fucking fan of that stuff. I don't mind. Wild Samurai says pre-order art books are the new game manuals. Yeah, sadly, unfortunately, they used to come packed in, as you know. You may not know. You may be so young you don't remember it. I mean, my nephew Daniel was watching the chat earlier. I don't know if he's still here, but, you know, I remember, I believe his first system was like an NES. And even the NES, they were starting to get a little paltry. Not entirely. I remember the Zelda manual was pretty meaty and had some great, beautiful color art. But certainly, those days are over. And so, yeah, maybe it is. You know, I was bummed. I got this. I've shown this before. I love this book. It's not an art book. It's kind of a game guide with some beautiful art. I want to get an art book for this, actually. But I got to tell you, I just love this book, and I love this world. And this is Elden Ring, if you're not looking. It's just this beautiful, hardbound, I don't know how many pages, 300 pages full of maps. I wish there was more lore. Like, I'd like to get an Elden Ring book. Like, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with The Hobbit. And there was a book that me and my buddy Dick Myrie, who eventually wanted people to start calling him Rich. No, we didn't. Called the Tolkien Beastery. And it was just exactly what it sounds like. It was just like, hey, you like The Hobbit, do you? You like The Lord of the Rings? Hey, this is some stuff about that. Monsters and locations and, you know, all that good stuff. So I love stuff like that, but it would be nice if it was included. But that's why I'm going to get the pre-order for Slitterhead, because the game looks pretty good. I like the pedigree of the studio, even if it turns out to not be a good game. It's interesting, and I like when people swing for fences. Nawdog, speaking of swinging for fences, Nawdog says, "I wish Alone in the Dark would drop to $30 on consoles." I do too, because I'm ready to play that game. I want to. I hear it's kind of like Slitterhead, at least what I think Slitterhead may end up being, which is really interesting takes, but it's got problems. But if you love horror, it's pretty fucking good. Eddie Torres says he got it for $20 physical. Where did you, was it used? Jaffe, check out Low Key Dark Souls for the lore. He has the best, but no Elden Ring book yet. Yeah, I want the Elden Ring book, but I hear you. I'm sure there's a Bloodborne one too. Slitterhead sounds like a slur. Yeah, people say that. People say that, but I don't know what the slur is. Bukaki's joking, but people have actually said Slitterhead. I'm not sure what the word is that is the actual slur, but clearly it's not Slitterhead. Matt Jaffe, hello. He says, that was my fave book. I still have a hardcover copy. Yeah, I'll show it to you guys real quick, then we'll move on. The Tolkien Beastery. Yeah. Oh, look at that. Yeah. Looks like they've only done one This was the one I had. This was the cover and everything. Oh, this book brings back memories. Look at this fucking gorgeous thing. And we would just sit and flip through it in school, and oh, it was great. Look at that fucking beautiful fucking thing. Come here. Look at that. Yeah, there's another one. Let's get a better one. Nobody's showing me inside. I want to see inside the goddamn thing. Sons of bitches. Anyway, it was good times. It was good times. Discovering Tolkien. I still have the book I read back there on the shelf when I was in grammar school. It's great. Okay. Well, they used to call Viet Cong. Yeah, I'm not going to read those, but okay, gotcha. Understood. Okay. Well, that's clearly not what it means. At the library, or did you have your teacher actually have the class reading it? Oh God, no. No, I just read it on my own. I bought the books. My brother had a collector's edition set. Let me, if you don't mind, let me, let me derail for a moment, if you don't mind, because I got to show you something, because I hate the state of this, but look at this. Tolkien, Lord of the Rings, box set, 1970s, right? I mean, I thought these were the ugliest fucking books. So this is how I kind of discovered it and got into it. Were these. Look at the covers on these books. It's just abysmally crap, right? They just look like shit. I'm like, why would you ever make these your covers? This is a beautiful world, and you guys just are shit in the bed. Look at these fucking terrible covers, right? So who wants to read? This looks like some kind of goddamn depressing Eastern European communist manifesto. I mean, look at this. At least the towers and Return of the fucking King, right? But now here's the ones I read. Fellowship of the Ring book. I'll just say it was the Jubilee edition. Jubilee. Look at this. Look at this beautiful art. Right now, this is the promise, my friend. Not that. This is, God damn it, Maverick. Hang on. This is the promise of adventure. You got this book as a kid in the 5th grade, 6th grade, and you were off to the goddamn races. Like, what is inside this magical fucking book? Look at this beautiful fucking thing. Give me a big image. God damn it, you fucks. Look at this one. Look at these goddamn. Here, I'll make it big. Come on. Look at that. Right? They don't do that anymore. Everything these days is fucking all the goddamn, oh, it's so serious. I don't want anyone to think I'm a geek reading this. I don't care if Tolkien drew those covers. These are some fucking man's covers. That's what I'll fucking say. The minimal of books look super cool. No, I fucking hate them. I fucking hate them. The Hildebrands did these? Yeah, I believe that's right. That makes a lot of sense. Look at these. The big, the big bird. That's where they, from Sesame Street. These are from the early 80s. They're called, look at this one. I have this one right back there on that wall. I just like, oh my God, a magic door built into the rock. What the fuck? Oh, I thought it was the coolest fucking thing on planet Earth, boys. All right, hang on a second. Rudy Giuliani has more people watching his live stream. I would hope so. He's Rudy Giuliani. He's about to go to jail for life. You guys watch this today? This is the Xbox Games Showcase deep dive on Indiana Jones. Now, here's what I'll tell you. It's okay. It's not great. I mean, it's fine, but again, it's exactly what it looks like. So nothing they showed. Like, I love Indy. I'm very excited to play the game, but nothing they said was like, oh my God, that sounds so fucking cool. It was just like, all right, it's Indiana Jones. The story's like, oh, there's this relic and they steal it from the museum that he works at. And then it starts the adventure and he goes all over the globe. Okay. And again, I'm not being like cynical. I love Indiana Jones. I am their fucking, if I can order this early, even if it's on Game Pass, I will, because I'm very excited for it. I'm just saying that nothing they've shown, if it wasn't for the license, would make me care. Other than like, it's a first-person shooter set in some cool tombs. I'll give it a look. That's how much I give a fuck about this brand. Yeah, Jericho says, I think I'm going to like this game no matter what. Absolutely, me as well. I mean, I'm a sure thing, as Vivian says in the Gary Marshall 1989 hit classic Pretty Woman. Tune in for more trivia about the movies you grew up loving and have meant a lot to your life here on Gabbin' and Gaines. This section here is fascinating to me because unless this is just like a little fucking, I don't even know, like a cutscene or just a tease that doesn't exist in the game, I look at this and I fucking hope that they're doing like God of War. What was the DLC for Ragnarok? Valhalla, where you got to actually go back and play some of the original God of War. Come on, can you imagine if they let you play the opening of Raiders Lost Ark? Obviously, they would add sections and all that stuff, but my goodness gracious, how cool would that be? How cool would that be? Oh, the answer is real cool. So I'm looking forward to it, but unfortunately, the deep dive didn't really bring anything to it. Awesome says the Indiana Jones SNES is pretty decent. It is very decent. It's I think it's called Indiana Jones's Greatest Adventures, and it's just kind of a side scroller, but it goes through every single movie, at least up until Last Crusade. Quite delightful. Quite delightful. Good stuff. I agree. You know what else is getting some good buzz? Stalker Hands-On, Stalker 2, Harder Chernobyl. This is a day one Game Pass title, and I want to get to a bigger topic in just a second. By the way, if you're curious about the show and you want to call in and share your views and you're not watching on YouTube because YouTube has it pinned to the top, it's right there. Just put it in the chat for you, my friends. Unless the indie game releases on PS5, I won't be buying it, says Game Profit. It probably will. Probably fucking will. But look at this, though. So the last time I saw people playing this was at Gamescom, and people liked it. But people were like, it's still early, blah, blah, blah. This is what Games Radar, which surprisingly is bigger than IGN, I believe, or close to being bigger than IGN. I'm always surprised when I learn about that. But apparently Eternal says the demo wasn't great. Are you talking about for this? Because this is what this guy says. Stalker 2 I sat down with at Summer Game Fest hasn't merely offered up a refinement of the foundation, which was at Gamescom, where he thought it was just okay and rough around the edges. He says instead it demonstrates an absolute transformation. I'm just going to read a little bit to you for a moment, just a little bit. The visual fidelity has been overhauled entirely. Where the zone last appeared somewhat flat and washed out, it is now overwrought with dense detail. A violent sky, illuminating deadly anomalies off in the distance of the open world. The artificial intelligence is sharper. Enemies doggedly pursued me through thick foliage as they shared their bullets between my position on an irradiated ridge and blind dogs stalking through tall grass. Frame rate holds steady as firearms kick back like a jackhammer, prone to jamming whilst you squeeze the trigger as weapons gradually degrade over time. They let him play. He played 40 minutes of it. Heavy atmosphere. Enemies of both the human and mutated variety are brutally efficient, healing reserves quickly, surrendering to incoming shrapnel and sideswipes. Factor in the need to manage dwindling ammo, radiation sickness, anomaly incursions, and inventory weight. It quickly becomes apparent that the few concessions are being made to make a player base come into Stalker 2 unaware of the series' legendary difficulty. It's more approachable, it says. It's looking increasingly like the video game its countless trailers have presented it to be. The characters are richly detailed. The zone is dense with dangers. The interweaving combat systems are delightfully brutal. If there's anything it needs, it's just bugs need to be fixed. So I'm in, man. But are you guys saying that the Eternal says apparently the demo? So the old this is a guy writing about the demo that he played at Keighley Summer Games Fest. But he actually is saying, I played it at Gamescom, and he says, I was left a little worried about the state it was in. So maybe you're thinking of that one. Eternal says, interesting, the YouTubers I've seen commenting on behind closed doors hands-on weren't so generous, but maybe it's a divisive game. Interesting. Golf Franchise says, I mean, I hope you're wrong, but you may be right. Stalker 2 is only getting good praise because the studio being from Ukraine. If you spoke bad about the game, you'd get labeled a stooge for Putin. Well, I do know that one of the developers died in the war. He went to fight against Russia and died. So maybe, I mean, that's giving it a little bit of a pass. But I that's not why I'm following it. I thought it looked good in the trailer last week. And then when I read this, I'm like, hey, this wasn't even on my fucking radar. But now it is. Antonio, I already talked about Black Myth Wukong in Sweet Baby Inc. I already went there, you bitch. You're just late. Don't show up to class late and then act like you get a seat at the table. Sit down in the back, be grateful anyone's paying attention to your stupid ass, and shut the fuck up. Yeah! Ace, did you hear what I told Antonio? He can't talk to me that way. Idiot. Okay. Listen. Listen. Somebody earlier was talking about the Helldivers 2 bleeding users. I mean, that's... Oh, you bought the shirt. Cool, man. I love this one. I'll have to show you the other. I got a bunch of new merch just came in. I got to show it off on the next show. Thank you for that, buddy. You know... It's hard on these service games to know what the long-term situation is going to be, right? Because everything's going to taper off. But is Helldivers going to be able to kind of sustain a lucrative fan base, even if it's no longer like the talk of the town? Who knows? But let me show you one that if I were these guys, I'd be a little worried. But again, I don't, Multiverses. I played Multiverses for about 4 days when it came out. Yes, this merch was made with AI art. Absolutely. 100%. I played it when it first came out and I liked it. I liked it back in the day, a year and a half ago. And I like the new version. And I played that for about 4 days. I was chasing some of the costumes and all that shit. I enjoyed it, but after about 4 or 5 days, I'm kind of like, I moved on to other things. I haven't thought about it, but I went to the charts today, and this is just Steam. I know it's on a handful of other systems. Most importantly, PlayStation and Switch. But if you look at it right now, when they launched a couple of weeks ago, or relaunched, these guys were able to come on board with 100,000 concurrent players. And now they are currently at 15,000 players. Now, of course, these things are going to go down, but that seems, and I really liked it. I mean, I was playing the shit out of Jason Voorhees and Wonder Woman. It's good. I dig it. But they just can't, at least if you're looking at Steam, they just can't seem to keep people around. And they've got a lot of systems in place. I mean, they've put a lot in there in terms of like things to unlock and daily missions, weekly missions, single player. I mean, they did everything that you could think to do. And I think there's a lot of these games that just, I don't know, even Pal World. Can you imagine being Pal World or Helldivers the first month? You would have thought you were the knees bees. You would have thought you were the next big rock stars in that fucking world. And then the player base just moves on. I don't know how you justify investment because it's, when you can see games that actually are good, that do well, what's the secret sauce to keeping people around? It is Eternal. It says, it's tough to keep people on fighters unless you have a platform and ecosystem. Well, here's the thing though. The closest comparison is Brawlhalla. Brawlhalla's been out for 5-6 years. So it's 15K right now, Multiverses. Look at Brawlhalla. 17,000, 16.9, either way. And they've been consistent at that for, let's go to a year. They usually hover around 16 to 20,000 over the last year. Over the last 3 years, they've obviously dropped, but 2 years ago, 2 years ago, they got to 20,000. And that's where they pretty much stayed, short of some spikes here and there when new stuff drops. So I'm just saying, it's like maybe Brawlhalla just has its hooks in people for their free Smash Bros. Ripoff. And, There's no more. There's no. You gotta really do something special to compete. And I love multiverses, but I don't think it's special. I think it's just well made, but pretty typical. So yeah, even Mark Hamill's Joker won't save multiverse. I don't think anybody ever thought it really would save it. He does a good job, as he always does. But you know what's interesting though? Cap says Smash Bros sold about 35 million, right? Here's what I was thinking though. I mean, I want you to think about this. This is kind of fascinating, at least to me. I'm I play board games with the family at times. We don't play them as much as we used to, but we still play them. And you can look at a board game like Catan or Sushi Go or whatever you like to play. And it can be one of your favorite games of all time. And it can be just loaded with memories that you adore. But the challenge is, for a video game, like on a board game, you buy it, or like Smash Bros, you buy it, you own it. And even if you come back to it 4 times a year, when friends come over, it's Thanksgiving at the house or whatever, it feels like a good investment. But so many games now, because they demand more than that, here's what I think is going on. I could be wrong. I think there was a solve to that problem that we saw with battle passes, and we saw with sort of how to do it where you're not paying for power. And that kind of got some of these games to superstar status. Like if you're looking at obviously Fortnite, PUBG, Call of Duty, Warzone, blah, blah, blah. But once that kind of wore off and you were already in an ecosystem, it's like somebody's got to come up with another reason to get you to stick around. Like it's like a meta design that I don't think anyone's come up with yet, because, now Inspal says I'm playing Helldivers 2 now, 117 on PS5 and 67K on PC, which is great. I mean, it is Friday, it's the weekend, but let's see what that, I'm curious about that. Let me go look at what Helldivers 2 is doing on Steam right now. Although you just told me, didn't you? Helldivers 2, is 4 hours ago. Those guys were hanging out at 74,000, and they have had. Let's look at their. So they came on at 500,000, and now they're living in the land of about on a weekly basis, on average, they're at about 40 to 50,000, and then the weekends come and they jump up. So. I don't know how he sees active users on PS5. I can't see that. I have no idea. Admiral says, I've spent 100 hours in multiverses. I'll tell you why they're losing players. Warner Brothers forced in mobile game levels of monetization. Each character price was doubled in free currency or cost $10. I didn't think $10 was that much for a character, but I mean, could be. So you're basically saying that the main reason to keep playing that game is to get new characters, and because they've made it so expensive, people are walking away. I mean, yeah, if that's the main motivator for a lot of people, I can totally see that. Hang on. Okay. You guys don't like $10 characters. Man, characters are so expensive to make. I know that that's not your problem. But is interesting to me that you think that's a lot for a character. Maybe it is. I don't know. Kevin says everybody's expecting live service games to be free to play, which ain't helping. Yeah, but that's the world. That's the competition. When that Hypercharge game came out, and I guess it's doing pretty well, given its scale, I thought it was going to tank. I look at what's Sony's new one coming out, Concord. I think Concord looks good, but I think $40 is too much. I understand not every video game needs to be a service game, Black Demon, but if you are basically competing with other free to play games in the same genre, you better have something sexy to bring people to the cash register and actually buy it. Like Marvel Rivals, as much as I don't think it looks great, is fucking free. And it's got a license. Why are people going to play Concord? Unless Marvel Rivals sucks, which it might. It looks bad. And Concord is good, which it might be, because it does look good, I think. But we'll have to see. Okay. I can speak for Helldiver, says CR. The reason it's losing players is because they refuse to balance and fix the game. Meanwhile, to keep pushing out more war bonds. I guess they're balancing it. I mean, I know what they've done recently is said we're going to take a step back because we've been making tweaks every fucking 5 days, trying to stay ahead of it, and we just need to let it settle for a couple of weeks or a month and go, are we really making smart decisions? Because I guess they were being so proactive that it was starting to piss people off. And I've been there. We were drawn to death. We were a failure almost right out the gate. But every day I'm like, maybe this will do it. Maybe this will fix it. Maybe this will stop the bleeding. And it's hard not to change those knobs. It's hard to have the patience to go, just let it sit now. Incredible Guy says Apex Legends has been running strong since early 2019. How do they do it? I don't play that game. I know that when it came out, like here, another example might be Valorant, not Valorant, X-Defiant. It is offering something you're not getting anywhere else, which is traditional multiplayer Call of Duty that's free, whereas you can only play Warzone for free if you play Call of Duty. So I'm trying to remember Apex Legends coming out. Wasn't it kind of the first that blended hero shooters with, was it the first free-to-play hero shooter? Because Overwatch at the time was still, you had to buy it. Maybe that was what got people in the door, and then they just knew they had enough money to keep a cadence of content coming all the time. I played Marvel Rivals, says Tatum, after a mashing of teeth with the devs, but it's literally an Overwatch clone, but being free to play will help it over Concord. So it's not crap, Awesome Tatum, because I watched people play it and I just thought it looked terrible. But it may just be that I was watching some bad people play it that couldn't play it that well. But if it's a just solid Overwatch clone with Marvel, I'm there. 100% I'm there. You goddamn right. J-Lord, thank you for the super chat, buddy. He says, I would love an open world RPG prequel to A Song of Fire and Ice, where you play as an exiled Stark Prince in Valeria before the Doom. I have no idea what that is. A Song of Fire and Ice. Isn't that a Game of Thrones book? What is a song? I'm getting old, folks. These blocks just drop. I know I've heard of A Song of Fire and Ice, but I'm like, what the fuck is that from? What is that from? But you would play an open world RPG that's a prequel to it. Okay, cool. It's a Game of Thrones thing. Okay, that may be why I'm only semi-familiar, because I've never read a Game of Thrones book. I read the first chapter like 5 times, but it's never hooked me enough to want to read everything else. But gotcha. Well, thank you for that, J-Lord. Now, I want to show you guys something, which, again, here, let me ask you, and it may not be solvable. Okay, it may not be a solvable thing. And then after this, we have another video game AI character who wants to play 20 questions with you. You goddamn right. If you don't know what I'm talking about, stick around. But first, I want to ask you guys this question, because I'm approaching this with genuine, honest curiosity. So, do you think, where did it go? Here it is right here. Do you just think, like, is there a place on the internet you can go if you want to talk about video games without, like, the console warring or the fanboys? Like, is there a place to go to say, anybody here doesn't care what you game on. We love the art form. We'll debate it. We're passionate. We'll get into some, passionate discussions about things, but we're going to bring logic and adult mentality to the table. And here's why I ask it. Because there was an article that went up today on a site called Fandom Wire about your old Papa Jaffe. And inevitably, I knew it was going to rub people the wrong way. And lo and behold, it did. It did, right? This is the article. And it wasn't meant to rub people the wrong way. Hey, PlayStation, here's how you compete by Ubisoft. That's what I tweeted. God of War creator David Jaffe sends another out-of-hand message to PlayStation after he couldn't shut up about Ubisoft Forward. So that's basically what I said. I said, wow, first Xbox, now Ubisoft. Their conference was fantastic. Much as I adore Starfield, it's cool to see the open world space adventure brought up to modern standards, talking about the Star Wars game. And AC looks so fucking good. Hey, PlayStation, here's how you compete. Open up the checkbook by Ubisoft, right? And so I go to NeoGAF. I don't post there anymore, but of course, you know, forget all the idiots, but just the people who were kind of like, you know, what you got was they don't seem to they come at me with this thing of like, you don't seem to understand, Jaffe. They're number one. They're already competing. Like, it's like you can't really have, like Tsushima laughs at any Ubisoft game. Jaffe says the dumbest shit. PlayStation isn't competing. What? And I'm not talking about that right now. I'm talking about where the industry is heading. Where, as Gretzky says, where the puck is going. Somebody sent me this. It may have been Awesome Tatum. I don't remember. Somebody on the Discord, but thank you for this. They just said, hey, look, here's an Xbox roadmap, right? And all I was talking about was that now with the Xbox Microsoft acquisition, or Xbox Activision acquisition, and assuming, and I typed if in big capital letters, that the show that Xbox put on was not just bullshit smoke and mirrors trailers, but those games are actually going to be, they may not be classics, but they will be more than good enough at worst and really fucking awesome at best. Okay. And so all I was saying is it's an issue of scale and scope at this point that Sony can't compete with. And so they need, if they want to compete, and maybe they don't, but if they want to compete, maybe they need more big AAA developers that aren't taking, even if they are taking 5 years to make a game. Cap, I get it. It's not the point. That's what I'm saying. Why? And again, I'm not saying just because you don't agree with me, you're not having an intelligent discourse with me. I'm saying I prefaced that already. I said that already. I said that, yeah, Microsoft has done nothing to suggest that they have turned the corner when it comes to their shitty management and their inability to consistently drop great games. But if the showcase from the other day is indicative of the worm having turned for them, then what you're looking at is the vision that has been promised for all these years, which is look at the cadence of drops here. Look at the frequency of big fucking games coming out. This is only possible if you are spending the kind of money that an Apple, a Microsoft, a Tencent, an Amazon spends. So all I was saying was if you want to compete, I was talking about scale. I was talking about this is the new media landscape. These companies are behemoths, and Sony is too small at the moment to compete if you're talking about scope and scale. And that was the conversation. And inevitably, even Fate in the chat, nothing to see here. No, there's plenty to see here. There are big games that are potentially meaningful. They could all be shit as well. But don't say there's nothing to see here, as if you've played these games and you know. Yes, Captain Crunch, finished products versus trailers. That's what I'm saying. I give up. I fucking give up. Understanding says Xbox is the shit. People can be mad all they want, but it's not going to stop Microsoft what it's doing. Yeah, but I'm just like, I hear you, but what's the point then? Right? Bukaki says, I don't know why you think they care about what you're really trying to say. They don't want to have a conversation. They're just mad you aren't praising their favorite corporation. I know, but that's what I'm saying. Where can I go on the internet to actually have a genuine conversation about video games that I love and the medium that I love and the business that I was in for 20 years that I love? Why can't we just talk about that? And I mean, does it really bother you that much that Microsoft may do better than Sony and Sony may do better than I mean, who gives a shit? Right now, Ubisoft Plus on PlayStation is hampered with only older games. Sure, I'm just talking about if you're going to have a lineup of big fucking games to compete with this output. But yes, you're absolutely right. If most of these games are of the quality of Redfall, then yeah, there's no problem. But then what I want you to do is let's have that conversation. But to act like I'm bringing up something that just doesn't even deserve to be brought up. Oh, it's such a bad take, Jaffe. Don't you know who sells more consoles? Yeah, you fucking moron. I'm smarter than you are. I'm more educated than you are. I'm more experienced than you are. Sorry you don't understand the nuance of my very deep conversation, which ain't that fucking deep. I mean, maybe a lot of these are kids that are like 9 or 10 years old. Maybe I'm giving them too much credit. Right, Bukaki says the fact you used to work for Sony doesn't help. Oh, he's just mad they don't want him anymore. I'm literally saying, hey, you want to compete? Go get these guys. Guys, I understand. Ubisoft made a deal to get the cloud rights for blah, blah, blah. That doesn't mean, I don't remember anything in that says Ubisoft can't be bought. You know, and again, if Microsoft can buy Activision with a caveat of, but we'll sell the streaming rights, then Ubisoft can be acquired. With the caveat that streaming rights to Call of Duty will now go to EA or something. I mean, you know, if you want it bad enough, you can negotiate anything if you're willing to give up certain things. Anyway, I just wanted to bring it up because I just, it's not that I'm bothered that people are, I mean, I don't like that people clearly aren't paying attention, but I'm more bothered by, just the lack of anywhere on the internet I can go to have a conversation that extracts this sort of childish horseshit out of it. That, I guess, would be my point. Michael says, why do PlayStation fanboys want Xbox to die so bad? What are they scared of? I don't know. Thank you for the super chat, buddy. I don't know. I don't know, man. I don't understand it. But there's a lot of things I don't understand. I talked about this on yesterday's show. I don't fucking understand. My daughter had a weird fucking interaction with this creepy dude out by the gym the other day. I don't understand a lot of men in this society, right? It's just like, I don't get a lot of things people do. I understand they're like that. Men are like that when it comes to certain women, or certain men are like that. I understand that, I guess, a lot of vocal gamers are like that. But I'm just like, my God, is there any place I can go to talk to some people that are just, interested in a conversation about something we fucking love? I mean, the answer is maybe not. Listen, I want to tell you guys something now. I'm going to turn the chat over to you guys. Call in. Maybe I'm gonna smoke some pot. I have pot, but it's stuff my kid left lying around. So I don't know if there's anything left in it, but let me try some. I don't know. Did any pot come out of that? The retirement home. Maybe, Cap. Maybe. All right, let's go. It's the chat. Whatever you guys want to talk about. I don't give a fuck. You can call in. You can type it with your little typey types. I don't give a fuck what we're talking about. It can be video games, movies, politics, you know, all that good stuff. Am I sucking to the wrong end? Nope, it's lighting up. That should be enough. That should be enough. I'm so glad there was some pot. I'm not worried about fentanyl-laced weed. No, I'm not. I am worried about the LA Times article that just came out. Oh, yeah, let's do the Guess the AI thing. We'll do that. I am worried about the LA Times article that came out that said there was some bad shit in there, but it's not like fentanyl. Okay. Yeah, we'll do this real quick. Okay, we have a new AI character. Yesterday it was Sniper Wolf. I don't remember who got it. It may have been Wayne B. But this is going to be a new video game character. Other than obvious questions that will give it away, I want you to try to guess who it is. So start asking away and let's see what ends up happening and see who gets it first. Now, the voice is just a generic male voice. It could be a male character, it could be a female character, could be an old, young character. The voice is just a voice because I haven't figured out how to give it any personality yet. Okay. Have I read the Wukong dev article? I mean, on IGN, which one? The one that is apparently beating up the developers just because they think they're sexist or something. I don't know. I didn't get that. I didn't necessarily think that their take was accurate, but I don't think it was sexist. I mean, I guess by definition, maybe it was sexist, but I don't think it was offensively sexist. I think it was sexist in that you're attributing behaviors of one sex or another simply based on their sex, and that in and of itself is sexist. But, you know, do I love God of War or Twisted Metal more? Probably Twisted Metal, just because it's closer to my soul. K-Nub says, here's a hot take, Jaffe. I think 80s Dune is better than the new one. I haven't seen Dune 2. I like Dune 1 a lot, but I saw the Lynch one recently, and about 4 months ago, and I loved it. I'd already seen it when I was a kid, but I love seeing it again. Really, there's a retro TV Land Smash clone, says Tyler, where you play as Gilligan, the Golden Girls, Bob Newhart, and the cast of Empty Nest. What? Excellence. I have to go look that up. You got to ask questions. Nobody wants to know. Nobody wants to know who this AI character is. If you want to make a new Twisted Metal, would you give Kratos a car? Probably not. Probably not, Benjamin. All right. Well, you guys let me know if you want to see if you can guess. Yesterday we had a lot of people guessing. Nobody's saying. I'll give you an example. Maybe you need a little bit of a push. Just a little push. If we're living in a simulation, isn't it kind of boring? Says Matt. It's not a bad point, actually. Like you know, but one could argue that, or many people do argue, that there are many millions of simulations that are trying to simulate various things. We could be one that's like, do it without superpowers. But yeah, it's a good point. But then again, even Superman's life is probably boring. I mean, maybe anything becomes boring if it's your norm, almost by definition. Okay, so Bukaki says, okay, so here is a question from Bukaki. Do you have any special abilities? All right, let's see what he says. All right, this may give it away, but fuck it, he asked the question. Here we go. I'll just say that I'm erasing the rest of what he said because the rest gives it away. So that's what he says right now. We could be in the year 3000, says Matt, seeing what it was like to live in 2000. True. You guys can't hear it? Oh, you guys can't hear it. I'm sorry. Here you go. Here's what he says.
Yes, Bukaki. I have special abilities. I wield the power of Hellfire and can summon it at will.
And then Wayne says, what gender? Are you a man or a woman? Here you go.
I am a man. In life, I was known as Hanzo Hasashi.
Yeah, Adam got it first. It was Scorpion. It was Scorpion from Mortal Kombat. That was pretty easy. Yesterday's was a little bit harder, but okay. There you go. Not Ghost. Yeah, kind of Ghost Rider. All right. Well, there we go, fellas. That's the show, unless you guys want to talk about something specific. Again, don't forget, by the way, tomorrow is I Love the Weird at 5 o'clock. We're going to be talking about a lot of things. But we're definitely going to kick it off by talking about the Harvard study that says that aliens are here, they walk among us, and the theory that this is sort of the slow rollout of disclosure that the government has been ceding to us over the last 10 years or so. Twerk, am I going to play your game tonight? I actually already played it, but okay, I'm trying to figure out the best way to address it in my thoughts. Maybe let me do that on Monday instead. I mean, if you want to hit me up on the chat like after like tomorrow, I'm happy to share my thoughts, but it might be a fun thing to do with the chat and stuff. But the gist of it is, I love werewolves. I think that's cool. I like some of his werewolf abilities. I think those are cool. I think the game, like there's a game, here's what I'll say. There's a game right now on Steam Next Fest called Munch that reminds me a little bit of the werewolf game. And it makes me go, this game does things that keeps the game sticky and interesting. Whereas the werewolf game, fundamentally, after you clear a level, it's just sort of samey. And there's some control issues. And so it's a nice proof of concept, maybe, but it still lacks kind of a loop that you're like, okay, I got to try that again. And I think, though, there's a lot you could do with it. I like the idea. I like controlling aspects of the werewolf, but I don't think it's there yet. But I'm more than happy to talk to you about it in more detail. But I did enjoy parts of it. It didn't keep me engaged for that long. Salvador, okay, look, let's talk about the $7 million ransom. Where is your evidence that Sweet Baby Inc. or Hit Detection or any of these people charged that for their services and specifically reached out to the developer of Wu Kang and said, we want you to work with us, and if you don't, it'll cost $7 million, and the fact that you said no, that has led to the press beating up on him. I mean, you guys are just buying this hook, line, and sinker. And by the way, I'm not saying it's a lie, and I'm not saying that some of it is a lie. Maybe half of it's true and half of it's made up. Maybe it's conjecture. I don't know. But you don't know either. And wouldn't you be better served either choosing to say, oh yeah, I don't know, I heard something about that, but there was no real evidence, so I'm waiting to see if any proof comes out, or spend a little time doing some research. But I did this morning. I couldn't find any evidence of that. Where, go ask Grums. He seems to think there's boogeymen everywhere. DEI boogeymen everywhere. Go ask them where they are. Ask them for some fucking proof. I don't like that shit, man. All right, now the pot's kicking in. Let's talk. Let's fucking talk. Gina, get on the goddamn phone. You know what she says to me earlier? She says, I'm going to call into the show, Jaffe, but, I'm shy. I'm like, shut up. Call into the dumb show. Let's have a conversation. Not about the stuff we talked about earlier. That's off the table for now. I understand. Torek says, Jaffe, I'm actually shocked. No, not the next one. Not LOL. Be a fucking badass warrior woman and get on the fucking show. God damn it, Gina. Come on. Don't make me waste this high on myself. I'm shocked how many right-wing people seem to watch Jaffe. It's kind of strange seeing how liberal you are. Maybe middle of the road. No, I'm very progressive. Very fucking progressive. I think the reason I get some, I'll be on next time. Oh shit. No, you won't. No, you won't. Get on, seriously. What else are you fucking doing? Get on the fucking show. Do it for me. Who paid for the drinks last week? Huh? What do I get? Actually, you paid for all of it. The point, though, Gina, is get on the show. Look at this. Look at this guy. Look at this blah, blah guy. Not everybody can fluidly shoot the shit, same as you, Jaffe. You're not intimidating, but calling into a live... Shut up. Just call. Just call. Because otherwise, I gotta do all the heavy lifting myself. And I don't have any more topics, you guys. Oh, she doesn't have a shell. I mean, she does, but you know what she says to me afterwards? She said, that was fun. I'm like, yeah, I know. Trust me, G, you'll have fun. Look at the chat. Look at the chat. They want you, Gina, to call in. We'll talk about, I'll tell you what, Gigi. I'll tell you about this experience my kid had yesterday that really is bothering me. I'm pissed off, and I want to get your take on that. Pap, we're talking about that in tomorrow's I Love the Weird. About aliens been here the whole time. I know there was the Harvard report that came out a couple days ago, and that's definitely one of the main topics. Absolutely. When will I host an episode of Constellation? Whenever they ask me. I got a text from Colin today saying, come on the show Monday and let's do just a Colin Jaffe chat. So I'm doing that. And then I'm doing another Constellation on the 28th. But, I mean, they haven't asked me to host. I probably wouldn't be a good host of that show because I think Dagan does a great fucking job. I think you need... Hi, buddy. Hello, dog. I have such a great dog. He's such a good boy. I think you need somebody who's more even-keeled, right? And I think for me, it would go crazy. Now, if Colin says, hey, Jaffe, we want to make I Love the Weird a Last Stand Media show, well, you goddamn right. Colin and Jaffe stranded on an island. Who dies first? I mean, it depends. What are the dangers on the island? Do we have any food? Right? Ninja says, where'd it go? How many of the Xbox Showcase games will be good? Oh, yeah, who knows? There's zero evidence of that right now. The only thing I think we can really discern is we know Doom, the Dark Ages, I mean, unless something just goes absolutely batshit crazy, will be at least pretty fucking good and well made. It may not be as good as the Doom Eternal was, the jump from Doom 2016 to Doom Eternal, but it'll be a solid 7. I think Indiana Jones, if you look at the pedigree, that team has never shipped a game lower than like a 7. Except that terrible co-op thing with the 2 girls, Wolfenstein thing, which I didn't think was terrible, but a lot of people hated it, but I just thought it was average. But, so I definitely think you've got a pedigree in there. I think, we were looking at a list earlier that you've got a pedigree of folks in there that are going to be able to deliver genuinely good quality stuff. Whether it's more like Outer Worlds 2 is going to be more than fine. Avowed is going to be more than fine. Here are the ones that I think are genuine risks for maybe having had good trailers, but ending up being just terrible. I think Shattered Space, even though I love Starfield, I could see that disappointing because the trailer was pretty disappointing. We don't know anything about Clockwork Revolution. Let's just talk about what we already have seen. Towerborn, they're not showing, which is worrying, but I've heard people who played the alpha that it's really good. Fable and South of Midnight could be utter crap. I think Gears of War E-Day and Perfect Dark, because of the developers, you will get, if nothing else, a really good solid B title. because those guys, not the initiative, but Crystal Dynamics, who are developing most of it in terms of the day-to-day in the trenches game development, and the guys doing Gears, they know how to make games, and they know how to ship games. I think similarly with Blade. So I think, I thought Ghostwire was boring too. So I would just, I guess my answer is, I think the only ones that really run the risk of genuinely being a Redfall disaster would be South of Midnight, just because that team hasn't really proven themselves. We Lucky Few or whatever, Happy Few is not a very good game. Towerborn probably doesn't run that risk. I don't think Shattered Space is going to be bad at all, but I think it could run the risk of just being not special enough that it just disappoints even more. Gears E-Day is not a reboot. They said they aren't abandoning, Kyle, the stuff that happened in the last Gears game. They're just saying they're going backwards in time for this particular story. K-Nubs says, Jaffe, are you okay with Metal Gear Delta just doing UE5 Code of Paint? I watched the deep dive on that. I think it looks so fucking good visually. And I loved Snake Eater, but I never finished it. And so between that, it looks excellent. And they're going to, I thought it was really cool that you can have the classic controls and the classic camera. And you can also have the over-the-shoulder stuff. I think it looks really good. So if you haven't watched the deep dive over on YouTube or Xbox, they put up their deep dive about it. And, these deep dives aren't really deep dives, frankly. They're kind of disappointing in that sense. They don't go into much depth, but it looks pretty fucking good. Let me show you it real quick when we're talking. What is that thing called again? What are we talking about? The pot's kicked in, boys. The pot is kicked in, boys. What was I doing? Shut up. What was I doing? I'm looking up. Oh, yeah. Xbox Metal Gear Delta. Whew. Yeah, if you're listening to the chat, this is where, or listening to the show, it's now officially off the rails. If you're here just for game talk, I can't help you anymore. This is just going to be, I don't know where we're going anymore. So enjoy that. But that said, here's some Metal Gear Delta while we're talking. Come on. I mean, come on. How can you not lose? I mean, it's beautiful. And I know Eddie Torres was talking about the lack of kind of the color of the first game, like the visual filter. Apparently that's in here. You can turn that on and off. So I'm excited. Yeah, I mean, look at some, and come on. You know where I got stuck in the game, and you know why I turned it off? I'm cool with it being the same game. I never finished it. I got stuck when Snake was walking through all of the dead bodies with that boss that was spawning all the people you had killed, and I just could not figure out what in the fuck I was supposed to do. And, I didn't give it much time, but I spent like 20 minutes going, okay, fuck it, I'm moving on. I think we were developing or trying to ship God of War or something at the time. So I didn't really spend too much time. But yeah, I think this looks really good. Proof will be in the pudding, but I'm excited. Wild Samurai says, I wish it had larger levels. The jungle is small and linear. Okay. You're not supposed to kill people? Maybe not, but I did. There's got to be a solve to the boss. The fact that they use the same voices is so clutch. I know people are complaining about saturation, but holy hell, someone's going to play this as their first Metal Gear. Oh yeah, that's really cool. That's really cool. Reach your dead body and use the res pill. I didn't even know I was going to my dead body. Okay. Yeah, but I'm looking forward to it. And I think it just looks sublime. Yeah, look at, and I'm looking forward to the controls. Look at that Gregory Wolf over in our Discord. Just join the Discord, folks. Look at that. Come on, that looks great. That looks great. What am I eating after? Well, like I said, I'm going to watch this documentary with my ex tonight. So it's a movie. We'll probably make popcorn, or I will. She won't eat it. She might, though. I don't know what she'll eat. But I'm sure I'm not looking for dinner right now. You walk until you run out of bodies. Oh, okay. Maybe I just got bored. Look at that. Come on. It looks great. It looks so good. I mean, it looks like if you were to tell me this is a brand new AAA game, I'd go, fuck, yeah, absolutely. You're at the end of Alan Wake 2. It's overrated, says blah. I mean, I can't speak to that because I haven't finished it. I played till the point where there was like the musical and stuff, and I liked it a lot. There was a lot I liked about it. I just thought it was a little too slow for my taste. I couldn't engage with it that long. I don't need the collector's edition, says Prophet of Metal Gear Delta Remake. I just want the physical copy. Cool. Well, I'm sure you can get it, right? Yeah, this is the guy who heads all the Metal Gear franchises. So Bukaki loves Alan Wake. Yeah, a lot of people do. Jaffe, we are living in a death loop, aren't we? You're high. You can admit it. I don't know what a death loop is. What do you mean? Like in Star Trek, one of the Next Generation episodes where the Enterprise kept blowing up and they reset? Like that? I thought the musical idea was cool and I appreciated it. And I thought there was a lot of creativity. But there was something that felt, it didn't land for me, I guess, but I liked it. Like you die and your life starts over, says Matt. Could be. Again, come tomorrow. Come tomorrow. We'll talk about it. We'll talk about all the weird shit, baby. I'd love to do that show later at night like Art Bell used to do, but I get tired. I couldn't do I Love the Weird at 1 a.m., but I would love to. Gina, you're in the chat. Get in here. I mean, what is the problem? What exactly is the problem? Just come on. Do you remember that time I saved you from that guy who was like, I'm going to kill everybody, you know? And I was like, you take your damn hands off her. Do you remember that? And then, and then you punched him, but I said the words. Oh, your audio's not working. You are so full of shit. Your eyes have turned brown, Gina. Good God Almighty. Good God. I like how P Turtle doesn't call in though, because he wasn't banned, but I told you guys what happened. And I do think his ego might be big enough that he thinks, oh well, I just won't call in. So there, I'm like, okay, I'm good. Yeah, Gina Bok says, no dog. Let me tell you something about Back to the Future 2. The fact that Marty McFly's tragic flaw that really destroyed everything was somebody called him chicken. What in the fuck? What in the fuck? They hinged the whole motion picture show on that. Come on now. I want one of those voices like those people, like Bukaki's got a good voice, right? Like, but I just don't have it. I don't have that deep fucking bass, but that's so good if you do this kind of stuff. I'd love to have that shit. I can't do it. Maybe you could fake it or have AI do it for you, but I don't want to do that. Going back to Shin Megami Tensei 5, I've heard about it. I've never played any of those games, but everybody is saying the remaster or whatever that just came out today is excellent. I held off though because I bought that shooter, that boomer shooter, Serio or something, and I also obviously the Elden Ring is coming out. I'm not saying my voice is bad for this. I'm just saying I'd like to have that kind of voice that's like, deeper and gravelier. It seems more appropriate. I legit worry about mental health of someone if they used to feel power through this channel and they don't have somewhere to focus it. Oh God, I don't think, look, I don't know P Turtle personally. He's not a character I've created. I don't pay the guy. I'm not above doing that. I'm happy to do that if I got a good character. But P Turtle just is, just called in. And we started talking and shit. So I couldn't tell you what his actual views of the world are. I don't think Colin has that voice either. I think Bukkake has that voice. Bukkake's voice is, say what you want about the allegations and the trials, but the voice is dynamite, man. It's just the shit. Did I see the Lollipop Chainsaw Massacre remaster trailer? I did, and I will buy it because I've never finished. I played the first one at E3, and that was it. I did see it. I like the idea of the license. Again, it's one more thing that just proves that Sony is not, not going to show sexy time stuff. Let me run this theory, but here it is right now. But I didn't think it looked amazing. I think it looks, it looks fine. But I love the idea of it, and I love the humor of it, and so I'll be getting it. But I think honestly, what a lot of the issues are that a lot of you guys seem to think are DEI are actually not DEI. I think instead, what we're talking about is more like ego on the part of a lot of these creators that work at the AAA level. I think they want to be seen as artists and serious with something to say. And those kinds of people, and I'm not saying, oh, those people. I mean, I was one of those kind of people, and I love those kinds of people. I have nothing against them. But those kinds of people, I think, do tend to covet a sense of acceptance and kudos from kind of the arty-farty community, right? And I think that has more to do, and that's why you'll see Sony put something out like this, and you'll see Sony have no problem putting out something like Stellar Blade. And that's why a lot of the arguments tend to fall on deaf ears for me about, oh, DEI is ruining games. It's like, I don't think there's any real evidence of that. I think what you've got in a lot of these cases is people who just are, sniffing their own farts. And they want to be seen as serious artists. So like for me, somebody said to me the other day, and I don't agree with this because I think Roger Corman was a genuinely good filmmaker. I think a more realistic comparison, they're like, Jaffe, you're like the Roger Corman of games. I think I'm more like the Lloyd Kaufman of games in terms of like, what's his company? Like Toxic Crusader and Class of Nukem High. I see something like this, and this, I would not be ashamed to put this out. I'd be like, this is the shit. I love this. Trauma, that's what they're called. But I don't guarantee you, but this would be beneath a bunch of people in the industry that work in AAA that try to or do. I'm not knocking. Like I said, there are some games they make I love, but that try to be more artistic and serious and taken more seriously. I think they would poo-poo this. And no, I think this is the shit. I love stuff like this. There are some games, says Rob, that are too pretentious, and all the other games just are different types of things for different people. Yeah. You would love Angry Video Game Nerd Jaffe. He's a YouTuber, right? Isn't that a YouTuber? I think I may have come across him. And then who's the guy who collects? Is he like Metal Jesus or Gaming Jesus or something? He's been around for a while. Listen, I'll tell you, I haven't played their Lorelei and the Laser Eyes. I hear that's quite great. But I am very into mixtape just because I'm a kid of that era and I want to play those games. I want to play a game with those songs. Don't ask Gina any questions. She's not calling in. This is bullshit is what this is. I had a flow. I had a flow, Gina. Okay, Jaffe, I'll call in. Psst, bullshit. Now I got to wing this shit. That's why I get the big bucks, though. That's why I get the big bucks. I may start telling stories and throw in some facts that aren't facts, but they'll be about Gina. And that way she'll be forced to call in and correct the record. Let me do that. No, I'm not doing that. I wouldn't do that. Jaffe, is it still surprisingly big at my age? My penis? I'm not the guy who said it was surprisingly big. That was a lady who told me, 2 ladies had told me it's surprisingly big. But again, I'm not trying to flex, as the children folks say. I'm not saying it's like a horse penis. I'm a 5'6" short guy. So surprisingly big for me might be normal for a guy, I 6'4". I don't know. But I've never, like I said, I've never had a problem with it. And no one's ever had a problem with it, as far as I know. Lollipop Chainsaw, this could have been a great release on PS5. Yeah, I mean, they didn't do it any favors with this update. I mean, I'm going to play it, and I'm excited to play it. But yeah, it doesn't look like, oh my God, like if you look at Delta, Metal Gear Delta. Okay. The lady must have been a tiny lady. Maybe. I mean, no, let's put it this way. I have never had a complaint, but maybe there have been women who have been like, oh my God, that is too small, but I don't think so. I would know. I would know. Hang on. Hey, I'm down with that. That's because you only are with Asian ladies, says Mr. K. I mean, that's not true, but if that was my curse, I'd take it. I'm down with that. Why won't Sony bring back Socom? I mean, I don't know. My guess would be that the franchise really isn't that big of a deal. And if they want to make a tactical shooter, I've said this ad nauseum, if they want to make a tactical shooter multiplayer and basically make it Socom, I still wouldn't call it Socom, because the nightmare, that is one of the most passionate but also toxic fan bases. And if you don't do exactly what they want, and even in that, they're splintered a little bit, right? They have a little bit of different ideas on what makes SOCOM great. You might as well just call it something else and let the team that loves SOCOM make their take on it. But I think if you called it SOCOM, it's more trouble than it's worth, is what I would say. And I'd love to see Sony come out with a tactical shooter. I want a single-player tactical shooter is what I fucking want, man. I haven't played one of those in a long time. Because I don't like online tactical, because it's cheaters, and I'm not very good at it anyway. But I'd love to play like a single-player Rainbow Six Siege kind of thing. I don't think they have single-player in that, do we? Hang on. Ready or Not has a single player mode. Yeah, I played that. It was a little too hard for me, but maybe I should give it another shot. Hang on, I'm having 3 conversations at once, which isn't nice. There's nothing classy about that, Jaffe. Okay. This was a nice comment. So as far as I know, you're going to go down as having one of the best YouTube channels and communities, Jaffe. On top of everything else you've done, rest easy on these statements. Thank you, K-Nubs. I appreciate that. I do. You know what I'm going to do? I'm working with this guy, real smart guy, consultant guy. But we were talking the other day, it may have been yesterday. Oh, shit. Oh, God, here we go. P Turtle, there he is. We were talking. What am I saying? And I'm going to make a clips channel is what I'm going to do. What a great story. Shut up! Right, Ace? Oh, the baby. I gotta order pizza. What do I want? What am I gonna eat tonight, you guys? I'm gonna make a clips channel, is the point. And then, so this channel will be the streaming channel. And then I'm gonna hire somebody. And, you know, I haven't heard from Rob the Mod. Bukaki, you're next in line if you're interested. But I don't know if you know how to edit, and I don't know if your schedule allows you to be there for the shows, because that would be part of it. You have to know sort of the stuff that was good that you can extract. Man, I'm rambling. Look, the show is over. I'm still here. I'm still streaming. I'm still talking to you guys. But I can't offer a guarantee of quality entertainment at this point. Not that I ever could, but I certainly can't now because I'm too high. Did I watch the video from Pirate Software? Is that the thing about the Sweet Baby stuff? Is what you're saying? No, I don't think Rob. I mean, I haven't heard from Rob on it, but I mean, do you know how to do that? Are you in? Can you? I'm not looking for like amazing editing. I'm just looking for, you know, clip collection and such, and modding. You know, I would like to play Mass Effect. The problem is, and I haven't yet, but the problem is with Mass Effect and me right now. I'm playing so much. I literally, though, I will tell you I did, I will tell you that I did, started fighting the boss in Elden Ring because I'm trying to finish that for the DLC. And I haven't beaten him yet, but he's almost dead. He's the guy who, he's called like he's got some religious name, and his second stage is he's wearing this kind of circular medallion. And he takes his sword and he stabs it, and he becomes like the death guy or whatever. He's almost dead. So, is it Malekith? That sounds right. So I'm digging it, but that's I need all my energies going into that, and then this this other thing. What's called what's the shooter that everybody's talking about? I'll tell you what it's called. I just bought it today. I want to play it. Sulaco is what it's called. Oh, shut up. You know what? I see your text. Whatever. I could pull something out called entertainment, my friend. But sure. 4 hours. Where are you going? Good Lord. Drive safe. There's crazies out there, man. All right. Well, we'll talk next time, buddy. Have a good weekend. Yeah, the clip channel I'm going to do. I might even start putting it together this week. Okay, CR3D. Let's see what he's saying. What do you mean there's no evidence about the Wukong deal? Did you see that woman talking at GDC? Oh, my God. Somebody help this man. All right. Well, have fun. I know they're crazy. So, guard your sanity, bud. The woman talking at GDC, it's not even worth it, man. It's not even worth it. I did see what you're talking about. You're talking about the woman who worked for Sweet Baby, I think, and she said, in order to get the things that you want, I went out to lunch with the marketing guys and was just like, well, these people can make a stink online or whatever. Now, if you've ever worked with marketing people, they're like, yeah, we know. And so what? But more importantly, that has nothing to do with Wukong. She wasn't specifically talking about this deal. It's not even proof that Sweet Baby versus, what is it called, Hit Reactor, whatever, were the ones that were working with those guys or reaching out to work with those guys. So, where's that evidence? And secondly, that isn't tied to what she said. I am streaming to Twitch and YouTube at the same time, Jason. I'm on StreamYard right now. So I stream to Twitch, Twitter, and YouTube at the moment. I mean, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I mean, what I have just said, unless you have evidence that she was specifically referring to to what are they called? The developer of Black Myth Wukong, and that they charged $7 million, and then that afterwards there was an attack on the developer in the press, other than somebody at IGN talking about a specific comment about women and being pregnant, which may or may not have been sexist, but it does not have anything to do with DEI. Yes, I can see all the chats combined. Hang on a second. I don't want to bring it up, CR3D. If you want to, I mean, I'm just, I don't know what to tell you. You're not going to believe me. And then, okay, hang on. I'd like to do the clips thing. I listen to all the shows at work and can put some clips. Okay. Are you around tomorrow? Just hit me up when you're around on Discord tomorrow, and we'll try to, well, let's talk about that. That'd be great. Hang on a second, though. I got to send a quick text. Don't go anywhere. Or go, I mean, you can go wherever you want. I don't care what you do. Why isn't this thing opening up? That's what she said. Here it is. Okay. That's why the lib. What? Okay. Oh God. Okay, let me ask you a question, CR3D. Are you suggesting that the woman speaking at GDC who worked or works, doesn't matter, for Sweet Baby, the comment she was making about I go to lunch with marketing and tell them, be careful, don't upset us or something. Are you telling me that you are saying that that particular comment was directed specifically at the situation with the developer of Black Myth Wukong and the $7 million that people are claiming they charge? And if that is information is evident in the clip, I'll play it. But I've seen the clip. It's not there. No, it's okay. Okay, so you're saying she brings up that title as it relates to scaring marketing, is what you're saying, correct? She brings up Black Myth Wukong. Just want to be clear. This weekend, Kyle, I am playing Elden Ring. I will be playing Marvel Snap, as I always do. It's probably my favorite game of all time. And then I will be playing, like I said, this new shooter I just picked up from Steam called Stalker, whatever. The one thing I don't know is there are a bunch of demos I still haven't gotten to. I played the Almost Human demo. That's like the #1 demo people are playing on Steam from Next Fest. I thought it was fine, but it was incredibly generic. I played Fallen Aces a while ago, and I thought it was good, but it didn't really connect with me after the art style wore off. But I think this is a new demo, so I should try it. I did play the System Shock remake, Black Demon, but I should go back. Because when I played it, I was so obsessed with picking up everything and you go into those rooms, as you know, and everything, was pick-upable, that it just felt overwhelming to me. Okay, Doug, listen. Okay, fine. Okay, but let's be clear, though, CR3D. Before I bring up this clip, I want everybody to understand that what you've done now is this has nothing to do, except potentially tangentially related, nothing to do with the Black Myth Wukong story, which is what we were talking about. So let's first be clear and let's admit that that you just want to bring up and talk about an old clip, sure, I can do that. But don't tell me that it's tied into this narrative that's the story of the day when it comes to this crazy shit, because it's not. And you know it's not. I played a Kimbot last night, Cap 93, the demo. I thought it was absolutely disappointing. Yeah, you know, it misses so much that is great about the Insomniac games, which is clearly what they're inspired by. You know, and it doesn't, it's fine. Nothing's bad about it, but it doesn't bring anything to the table other than being a poor man's Ratchet and Clank. And so in that, I don't really have the time for it. Like it's not joyfully interactive. Not everything that looks like it should be interactive is interactive. The dialogue between the characters is obnoxious as fuck. I just didn't, I thought it was quite poorly done. No, I am skipping it. I'm just saying, you're asking if I've seen it. I'm giving you my response. But yeah, I've seen it and I've played it. Hang on. Let me see if I can find this clip while I'm high as a kite. You think Sony still has a lot of games up their sleeve? Oh, I'm sure they do. I'm sure they do. All right, hang on. What am I looking up? Sweet Baby. All right, let's see what she says. Let me see if I can find it. All right, let's see. Here we go. Give me a second. It's pertinent because we know people don't change for the most part. Prior behavior, sure. I'm not saying, but before I even play the clip, because I've seen it, let me be clear. I have it up. It's right here. I don't think anybody in real business, she is fronting for the camera. She is giving a speech. She is trying to sell her company. She is flexing. So I wouldn't suggest that you should take this literally. But that said, though, let's for the benefit of the doubt, let's take her entirely literally. Unless it's only a minute. If I can, let's see.
Sweet Baby Inc. proudly
This is
uses to
Asmongold. I wonder if he's going to.
In AAA, which I did.
what's said.
If you're a creative working in AAA, which I did for many, many years, put this stuff up to your higher-ups. And if they don't see the value in what you're asking for when you ask for consultants, when you ask for research, go have a coffee with your marketing team and just terrify them with the possibility of what's going to happen if they don't give you what you want.
Right. And so let me explain really what that.
So again, it's maybe you haven't done these kinds of speeches before, or dog and ponies before, or whatever. But again, let's just assume for the moment everything that she said was right. Okay, fine. That's totally fine. So what you're saying is, you run a company and you are publicly going out and saying, you know, if you don't do what we want, you have to understand that the market will tear you apart, or not, but they won't. If you're actually in marketing, you'll go, yeah, evidence hasn't really proven that out. That if we don't put a black, lesbian, Asian, Jewish, Muslim person in the game, maybe there'll be a little bit of a tempest in a teacup that you guys will engineer on social media, but it's not going to matter. Do you know how I know it's not going to matter? Do you know how the marketing guys, who actually are much more privy to the figures than I have, it's not going to matter? Because the number one game last year was also the number one game that the progressive left, of which I'm a proud member of, was Harry Potter. And it was the game that the progressive left said, don't buy this, boycott this because of J.K. Rowling. Boy, they really terrified that Warner Brothers marketing, didn't they? They terrified them all the way into having the number one game. because it doesn't move the needle, guys. You're not the majority. Just like the people when we looked at the sales figures for Stellar Blade, it's done okay. It's not even in the top 40 anymore. It's not even in the top 10 in the UK, and it's not even in the top 10 in America. So there are people that like that kind of stuff. I like that kind of stuff. But to act as if you are speaking for this massive group of people on either side, Suicide Squad did not die because it was woke. That is dumb. Just as much as Spider-Man 2 didn't succeed because it was woke. That's just dumb. You're not offering up. Again, the Harry Potter story, if you live in the world I live in of game news, which you do, was a big story in that small little pool. We're going to boycott it. Okay. Well, explain to me how it was the number one selling game. Wouldn't that have terrified the marketing team that this woman's talking about? Well, yeah, but he's saying that he's speaking for enough people, or that this woman is speaking for enough people, that her statements hold water, which is, if you don't do what we say, marketing, we're going to terrify you. Yeah, CR, you're either an idiot or you're a grifter. I don't even know if you played that game. I played 99% of Suicide Squad. I enjoyed it. I can recognize things that if people point out to me and people say, oh, you know, we don't like things that are woke because it feels forced. And you give me some examples, right? And you don't live in a city where a lot of that stuff is normalized. I could see you pointing out things in Spider-Man 2 or Miles Morales that maybe it's like, okay, that felt too on the nose versus just an organic inclusion. But other than the banner in the Hall of Justice, which kind of sort of maybe you could argue it works, but it also did not feel organic. It stood out like a sore thumb. Short of that, I don't know what the fuck you're talking about when it comes to Suicide Squad being woke. I'm sorry, I don't. And I played it more than you did, probably, if you played it at all. It wasn't a beloved franchise. People saw the way a beloved franchise was destroyed. Suicide Squad? It's not a beloved franchise. Elden Ring 7 days, am I playing? You know, man, I hope so. I want to. I want to finish the first one, and I think I'm almost there, and I made some good headway today, actually. Cap says, do people actually play these games, or do they say they're woke or not because of one article? Most of these people are not actually gamers. Most of these people are, the game they play is Twitter. The game they play is chats and NeoGAF. They don't play a lot of games, is what I would say. Because if they did, they would go, okay, are there games that are woke that might be a different point, Tim Duncan? I don't agree with you. I actually liked Suicide Squad. But regardless, though, it being terrible or not is got nothing to do with it being woke or not, or having a progressive agenda or not. I mean, you literally are having all these fucking iconic heroes being murdered. I assure you, they weren't going around trying to be all sweet and kind to everybody. Fuck you, Jaffe. I played Flintlock. I played it too. I actually liked it, he said. I didn't like it that much. It was fine. And these grifters are calling it woke. Great. I didn't get anything woke out of that game, but I don't know, man. Thank you, Autumn. Did I like Flintlock? I mean, I liked aspects of it, But I think it's not dissimilar to that robot game that we were just talking about. Whereas if you're gonna aim for the king of the mountain, in this case, it's kind of certainly FromSoft games and Lies of P at this point, whatnot. If you can't deliver on the execution of that, then you have to come to the table with something unique and interesting if you're not going to be able to win at a production value level. And that game, Flintlock, does not compete impressively with the Kings of the Hill of that genre. And in that, you expect it to bring something else really, really cool. Like I thought Banishers, which I thought was excellent, too long for me, but I played probably about 12 or 13 hours. I thought Banishers was a much better game that did not compete with the Kings of the Hill of that genre, but they had enough interesting stuff with the two characters and the ambiance and the narrative that it was worth it. Hello, Stephen Hawkins. I saw you said you had a bad day today or a bad week. What happened? Why is your week so goddamn bad? What occurred? Have I considered apologizing to P. Turtle? Why the fuck would I apologize to P. Turtle for? What is that? What is that? For what? All right, buddy. Good to see you, man. Thank you, Awesome Tatum. I don't think VR is the future. I think AR is absolutely the future, which you'll be able to do with AR. Man, I got a headache all of a sudden. Oh, you have PTSD. Ugh, it does sound bad. It does sound bad. I hope you're getting help or on meds and it's just a bad week. I hope it's not a bag of hammers you haven't worked with yet. Hopefully you can do some work on it if you haven't already, because you don't need that your whole life, obviously. Nothing happened with P. Turtle. He called in. It was a fine conversation. It was a typical P. Turtle conversation. But then I saw he used some language that I felt was offensive, that I did not want to platform. And so I'm like, hey man, don't do that again. If you do it again, I really don't want you on the show. That was it. And I haven't changed my mind. I don't think he's changed his mind. It's not a big deal. I'm just choosing not to, I don't mind. Look, somebody was asking, they were like, Jaffe, I'm so surprised that you have so many right-wing people on your show. And it's probably because I'm like, look, I don't care if you have different opinions than I do. I don't care if you even have opinions that I find just incredibly moronic. And I'm sure it goes both ways. But I do care that if people come here and they aren't of those opinions, or they are a certain kind of person in their lives, and you are using language that are that's harmful and hurtful and cruel and mean, whether it's on this show or out in the real world, I don't want to. I don't want to be known as a guy who gives people. Even though my platform is super tiny, comparatively speaking, I don't think I should entertain that. It seems disrespectful to the people who come here that expect, genuine conversation and respectful conversation. Does that make sense? I think. I don't know. I don't think it matters, Zeke. He's saying he's surprised because I am so progressive that, but here's how not so progressive I am, is that I give people chances. And again, it's such a arrogant way to talk about it. Like he needs a chance. He doesn't need me to give him a chance. If you want, my show is not some kind of, you come on here and you've got it made. Are you kidding? I host the show. I don't have it made. I'm just saying that it's the best language I got to express it, which is, I'm not going to be like, oh, I saw this one thing you did, you're off, because I think that's cruel. I think people can change and people can make mistakes, and we've all been there in various ways, of course. But if once you know it's a problem for some people and you still do it, then it's no. I still like Bill Maher. I don't agree. As he gets older, there's less I agree with, but I still enjoy a lot of stuff he says that I agree with, and the stuff he doesn't, at least I'm like, okay, well, it's thought out, it's fact checked, it's researched. I may not agree with where he ends up with it philosophically, but it's not just, he's not pulling stuff out of his butthole. I don't care who it was directed at. Here's what I think of Wayne B. And it doesn't matter to me if you are a gay person, a trans person, a black person, a Muslim person, anybody that is put upon in this society because of these things in their lives, some of which they have no control over, not that they should want to change it if they did, and some of which are choices, like, oh, I'm this religion or that religion or whatever. What I think about is if you have somebody watching the show and they go, oh, this feels like a place where I'm not going to get disrespected or made to feel bad about myself. I don't want to take that away for those people. And frankly, neither should you. You can hate the left, you can hate the right, but as much as I think religion is the craziest goddamn thing in the goddamn world, I would never, even if I could snap my fingers and destroy religion, which I do think in a lot of ways would make the world better, it seems like that would not be any individual's place to do. So everybody deserves to be treated nicely, I think. But Wayne B, I don't care. Wayne B says, my issue is he said it on another platform. If he said it here, I understand. I don't mean this disrespectfully. I love you and want to make lots of babies with you, but you understand it doesn't matter to me if you have an issue with it. Go do your stream. And I know that sounds so dismissive and like I'm being mean to you. What I'm saying is, in the same way I don't have to agree with everybody to be pals, you don't have to agree with my motivation of why I do things for us to still like each other. So I get it, but I'm pretty strict on that. I want people to feel heard and respected when they're here, even though we joke around and I get serious about certain things. I think it's wrong to I get you think it's bullshit, but I don't care. I don't think it's bullshit. I have enough confidence in myself to say I'm a smart guy. I'm not the smartest guy. You may be smarter than me, but I'm not so stupid that I can't defend my position where I think it's not bullshit. But I respect that you don't agree, and if you had a stream, you wouldn't do what I did. Great. But when did everybody get into this thing that you have to agree with everybody's decisions and thoughts or you hate them? I don't understand. Jaffe, there's a nice girl who I pick food up from time to time. She's nice and sweet. Do you think I put her in the same group as these weirdos with beards and lipstick? What? I have no idea what you're talking about. I'm happy to read your question and answer, but I don't... What? Oh, Doug, I'm sure people have said far worse, but I saw it. I don't like it. And that's how I responded to it. If you ever find yourself being the smartest person in the room, it's time to change rooms. Yeah, I agree. Okay, let me read this again. Jaffe, there's a trans girl who I pick food up from time to time. She's nice and sweet. Do you think I put her, in the same group as these weirdos with beards and lipstick? I don't care. Here's what I'll say. what you're basically saying is it's not dissimilar to those people who say, I don't hate all black people. It's the ones who do this, that, and the other. That's the kind of black I don't like, right? You must have heard that, certainly back when racism was more prevalent in the South and stuff. It's like, well, there are black people and then there are the N-word is what they would say. So what you're saying is you can be trans and acceptable as long as you're sweet and nice. But the minute they do something that you find weird, then you got yourself a problem. And I just think, who am I to you know, I imagine if I felt like a woman, or I was in some level, a woman in terms of whatever view you take on the trans stuff. But I also wanted a beard and to wear lipstick. I don't care. I mean, good Lord, do you know every Sunday people fucking go to these churches and temples and mosques and shit, and they pray to these characters that in any other circumstance you would think was from a fucking L. Ron Hubbard book? I mean, you know, the beard people with the lipstick don't have a monopoly on stuff that people think is weird. Hang on. I'm saying she comes off to me as sweet and feminine. I wouldn't have an issue of her going into a girl's bathroom. Now, me, if I put on lipstick, I should say the fuck out. I don't... Yeah, okay. Tim, I don't care. I mean, again, man, that's such a dumb way to express your view. He says, it's your channel, so you can do whatever you want, obviously. I just find it weak that you see a word and you freak out. First off, I didn't freak out, but I hate to know that I'm on the list of people you think of as weak. Oh no. Like, why even offer that up? Because it's clearly meant to insult me. It clearly, you think that if someone knows you look at them and find them weak, that is some kind of attack that should make the person you're attacking feel something. And I'm just like, come on, man. What are you, 12? Great. You find it weak. I find people crazy that pray to things that we have zero evidence of. But you know what? They're people. They're trying to get through their fucking lives the best they can. And I respect that. Yeah, Turbo Bastard, I don't know. Again, if you know, you're absolutely welcome here. Unless you're saying, I don't know what you mean. Honestly, I'm high. I don't know if you're talking to me or to Tim at this point, but yeah, you know. All right, well, listen, I'm done for today because we're about to start watching this documentary on the Brat Pack from the 80s. Yeah. People have every right to say stupid shit, K-Nubs. 100%. 100%. Fuck you, Doug. But anyway, yeah, the pot's kicked in. I'm going to go watch this motion picture. But seriously, joking aside though, hey, the call-ins, we had a few call-ins, but you know, some days they're, going like crazy, and some days like today they're infrequent. But anyway, tomorrow 5:15 we're doing I Love the Weird. If you're into that, we're going to be talking about what is starting to, I'm agnostic on all this stuff, but it's starting to look a little bit more like a slow disclosure, as they say. The Harvard stuff that came out this week about the UAPs and the UFOs, And of course, we're going to talk about other stuff that's not UFO stuff. We're going to talk about some weird head transplants going on. We're going to talk about some weird archaeological finds, all the weird monster shit you love. Come on now. 5 o'clock tomorrow live here on this very channel. In the meantime, have a great kickoff to your weekend. Thanks for spending some of it with me. I'm off. See you guys. Be well. Be safe. Thanks for the chat. We don't have to agree to be pals. You know that. Come on now. Oh, shit. Okay. There are 2 super chats. One from Michael and one from Chasselet. But I'm a little too high to read them now. So I will make sure to read them Monday on Monday's show. Thank you for those, and I apologize that I didn't get to them. All right. I'll talk to you guys soon. Be well, be safe, and I'll see you later. Goodbye.